Backseat. All right, come here. Check the backseat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the backseat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and Schaefer.
Good morning and welcome in. Happy Wednesday. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and Joey Colbert with you. That's right. Mike Schaefer's seat has been refilled by Mike Schaefer, and he has not been let go because of positivity. Good morning.
Good morning, Connor.
Although you
What a
are
relief.
very positive, you're very positive. Famously, everyone's always called you the most positive person.
I often hear about how my positivity has gotten people through the darkest of their time. Often has been referred to as a, shining light to guide people.
I would say
through
so.
The abyss that has been Nebraska football.
I would say so. And for that, we appreciate you, Mike Schaefer, and we would never fire you for it.
Thank you. I would hope that whenever the day comes, that I at least have, been told before it's announced on air.
That's true. Yeah.
That, the littlest that I ask would be that. So,
yeah.
Whether that comes to fruition whenever the time comes.
Beggars can't be choosers,
Yeah.
though. You never know. You never know when your day comes.
I'm happy to still be employed. I'm happy to still have access to my Pizza Hut hat and my desk.
That's right.
And all
That
of
is
the
true.
great things that I have earned in this time here at 1620.
Well, today we are looking at a glorious, glorious Wednesday. The Sean Everson, who I'm watching on television right now, from our partner KTV, he told us in our weather update this morning that we have the potential for a top 10 day today. We will have light and low winds. We will have high 70s, maybe touching a little bit of 80. I believe Wednesday is Schaefer Golf League night.
It is.
Hey, it's very excited about these prospects.
Yeah, we've had some really nice Wednesdays. There's been, there's one like 45-mile-an-hour wind day, but for the most part, pretty terrific. And so if we can log another one today, the score has been coming down for me after an absolutely abysmal start. So we'll see if we can continue to drop it today.
All right.
Try to get into the low 40s this time. We're in the mid 40s.
I would tell you what, it would be a real bummer if you go out and play like crap tonight because the weather is so tremendous.
I hope not to. I think the fact that I now am consistently playing each week. Also, you learn that course a little over time.
You do.
So you kind of know spots.
Here's where you
avoid.
can't be.
Well, it's more just like here's where you want to hit on the green to play the, the sort of the way the green's set up. But,
yeah, I mean, that sounds like a great idea. If I had the ability to choose where I put the ball on the green.
Well, you have a general idea of where you're attempting to go.
You do, but it works out that way like 8% of the time.
Sure. But that 8% you remember.
You do.
So it seems like it happens more.
It'd be really funny if I had like one of the, if I was me and I had one of those note cards that had the grade of the green and stuff like that. And I pulled it out of my back pocket and I was going up for my approach shot from like 130 out. And I'm like, all right, here's where I got to put it. Put my note book back in my back pocket and then just completely skull it, like hit it 40 yards over the green.
Did I tell you?
That'd be so funny.
So last week I had one blow up hole, and it was I can't remember if I told you this or not, but it was on we were playing Blackstone out at Stone Creek.
Shout out Stone Creek.
I had no idea there was a creek that runs right behind the water.
Yeah.
On
there,
6.
There used to be a tree that goes that went right in the middle of it too.
Yeah.
It used to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, I mean that hole is reasonably difficult for basically what's a straightaway par 5.
Right.
But I mean, I had no idea that creek was there. They don't mark it with red stakes, which is infuriating to me.
Yeah. You just trounce around in there.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna outsmart them. This course, everything plays hard right now because there's never been any water ever at any point. And so I'm going to bounce it right up on there. Just go a little bit short. I'm not going to go long because you don't have that much room to go long. Bounced it right into the creek that I didn't know existed.
You perfectly rolled it up there just into the creek.
So I was pretty mad about that. That was the one blow-up hole.
That is a bit frustrating. Yes, indeed. All right, here we are on a Wednesday, everybody. Happer, Schaefer, you're on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. And the Zone Radio Network. Wow, look at this. We are greeted with a YouTube comment this morning. 20 minutes before our show started, Justin decided to jump in. I don't even know how I could do that. I guess the link goes live right when Joey makes the link.
That's usually about 5:30.
So it pops up. Justin was just waiting for it, and he jumps in and he says this. Good morning, Husker Nation. Your weather report for today in Omaha, you could expect to see sunny skies, incorrect spelling, and temps in the mid-80s. However, you will experience flooding due to Connor and Creighton tears.
Oh, no.
Is this true?
It was pretty dry driving in.
I have enough tears to fill the city.
Having been at the game, there wouldn't have been it was a large Nebraska contingent, so there wasn't like there was much in the way of,
I'm going to try and cry.
tears or really even upset people yesterday.
No.
It was a pretty pro-Nebraska crowd. It was a great, it was a great day yesterday, too. There's a weird 25 minutes where the weather seemed like it was going to be kind of crappy. And then
there was a big cloud that came
cover
over.
Gets out of there. The wind kind of dies down.
It was going to rain during BP yesterday. I was like, what's going on? This is not good. So, that would have made me cry. That would have made me do tears.
Right. But
no tears for me. Great. That game had mattered nothing.
The park was great last night.
I want to have a discussion about this in a couple minutes. We could talk about the game from last night, but like I think that was a very tricky moment to play that game. I don't want to set it up too much because we'll talk about it in a few minutes here. But I mean, the last Tuesday of the regular season before you're playing a Thursday road series, Thursday, Saturday road series for both teams is just not advantageous to either one of them to be in that situation. So we can talk about that as we go on throughout the show today. But yes, Nebraska did indeed win again, and I am going to cry. That is the story of the day today. Elsewhere, we will have esteemed guests on the show. One of our guests was at the ball game last night. Lauren Michelson will join us in the 9 o'clock hour. Sam McEwen will join us in the 8 o'clock hour. That is our lineup today. We would love to hear from you all. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You could call or text that number. Tweet at us at @HappenSchafe on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor or Mike or Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers, especially the ones that jump in 20 minutes early and leave a comment. That is greatly appreciated. Check this out, by the way. Joey, this is a great job by you. Tyrell tweets at us from last night at @HappenSchafe. Thank you, Happenschaf, for the tickets to Nebraska Creighton baseball game. Family had an amazing time. I have an opinion. Happenschaf is the best morning show in Omaha. Retweet.
It is.
And my tears have been dried.
Look at that.
Tremendous.
Thank you. Is Tyrell, you said?
Tyrell. Yes. I don't want to say his last name, but a great at Royal Skur 49. Great take.
Probably the morning show where he's going to hear his most Royals takes on top of it.
Probably. There was
pretty much.
There's some AL Central chatter in the elevators last night. The city is a buzz of AL Central talk. The Royals lost to the White Sox last night.
The worst division in baseball. Who could not want to talk about it?
Well, I brought it up to John Bishop, and he's on his high horse, talking about, the Cubs are like 40 games over 500, and they're only 2 games up in the division. I'm like, yeah, sucks for you, man.
Yeah, it's also my team's going to
be
back in time like 2 years. Here's your terrible division with all of its bad teams.
I was like, whatever. My team's going to be 81, or my team's going to be exactly 500 on September 1st, and they're going to be exactly 2 games out of first. It's going to be amazing. But then I also left out the possibility that Cleveland could win 18 out of 20 or something like that.
Yeah, they do that in the second half of the year. They're definitely built more towards that than they are.
If this is like a normal season, which it has started out that way. The Royals absolutely were ass in the month of April, and they didn't score any runs, and then they kind of turned it around. You're like, oh, I'm kind of coming back. I mean, everything has looked the same in the AL Central as far as, the best pitcher is going to be on the shelf for a couple months in the division and things like that. Oh, here come the White Sox and the Twins, who were supposed to be terrible this year, but the Twins in particular.
They're terrible.
The Twins are terrible. How they win games
it's truly amazing.
Fascinating.
But they find a way, and that's not abnormal. But if it stays true to form, the Guardians will win, like I said, an absurd amount of games either in a row or in a span of time at some point this year to be able to take a stranglehold on the division, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Look,
it'll happen in July.
I'm already excited for their first round exit from the playoffs, and we could wonder how do they never advance with no offense and a bad bullpen.
Of course, they'll lose to the Yankees, and we'll have that whole discussion.
Be fortunate if they're playing the Yankees. That means they got to the second round.
That's true. They would. that is true.
They're going to get bounced by the Rays, probably. I know. It's disgusting.
That's no fun at all. Not at all. Elsewhere today on the show, we will discuss a variety of different things. The Nebraska basketballers know their conference opponents. We have thoughts on
someone say schedules.
Someone did say schedules. Speaking of, actually, there's a lot of schedule-centric things here. We didn't talk about that Notre Dame USC topic yesterday. I want to bring that back up. And that's a schedule-involved thing. I have no takes on anything that Lane Kiffin has said recently. That is not a topic on the show today. We have to get Schaefer's thoughts on the whole CSC arbitration dealio here. It's great. It's a great topic because nobody really knows what to think of it. It's fantastic.
I was thinking to myself, you know what?
I don't really have opinions on this. Oh, okay, great.
But I mean, I can make that more of a segment if you'd like.
That'd be nice. Maybe like 10 or so minutes or something like that. I didn't see this. I saw it briefly last week out of the corner of my eye. I think it was late last week. Did you see the column in the from USA Today from Matt Hayes regarding Nebraska football?
No, I saw mention of it. Either it was on message boards or on Twitter or on something.
Me too. I saw it on Twitter briefly. I saw the headline on Twitter briefly. I'm like, oh, I got to read that. I got to see what's going on over there. I didn't read it until yesterday. My God.
Okay. I haven't read it.
He went for it. He went for it.
I'm going to find it and I'm going to read it.
Also, speaking of negative encounters in the media, our dear friend Tom Fornelli did an innocuous tweet last week of a Nebraska football helmet and asked, what's the first thing you think of?
Oh, no.
And as you can imagine, the comments did not go very well. The yearly subject of, is the PGA Championship actually a major? This is exciting. That's this weekend.
No, I know.
I'm being told that there is a golf major this weekend.
There's a horse event and there's a golf major this weekend, and it's hard to tell if anybody cares about either.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that. And as the winners of the previous major event for each sport
are not participating. Well,
I don't know. One of them for sure is not.
The horse.
Right. Yeah. And then Rory left with a blister yesterday.
Ouchie.
That is the most coverage I've seen of the PGA thus far.
Yeah. I will say, as a person who has attended the PGA Championship, I would like it to be a major so that way I could say I've been to 2 of the 4 majors.
Oh, okay.
But that's about all. That's about all I care about. It is. And then I do love the golf discussion every year of the fifth major and what's the fifth major.
Well, I think everyone has that marked as a.
It's the fifth major.
It's like it might as well be the fourth because the fourth major sucks.
It's kind of like the fifth. Yeah, this is not a great major. Nobody's taught. Where is it?
I don't even know this year.
All right, let's find out.
I genuinely
let's all find
don't
out together.
know.
Where is the PGA Championship?
New York or Oklahoma? Those are my two guesses.
The Al tells me that the PGA Championship is at Aronimink Golf Club in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
What in the town that Josh Hart said it's not very sportsy or something?
Joey's keeping receipts. What did Josh Hart say about Philadelphia?
He said Philadelphia used to be a sports town, but it's not, even though he was there to see the Eagles destroy the Commanders in that NFC Championship game while wearing Commanders gear.
Roasted. I like this Knicks team because they're really good trolls. Just tremendous trolls. And, Philly and Embiid and all that stuff is a very easy thing to troll, right? But
it didn't look like the Knicks had much problem with them.
Not even a little
No,
bit.
And I'm glad I did not have to see the Celtics have problems with the Knicks.
Does that make you, like, knowing that the Celtics gave that away against another team that you hate just dismantled easily? What does that do for you internally?
I mean, I'm embarrassed as a Celtics fan just blowing that 3-1 lead. They were up by 13 in that second half of Game 5 where they should have closed that out in 5 games. But knowing Tatum had that injury scare that prevented him from playing Game 7, I just did not want to see him fall down again in a Knicks series in the playoffs.
Okay.
So I'm a little relieved that we're not pushing him to the limit after returning from a serious injury on the same court.
Is there any part of this answer where none of it matters because the Thunder are just going to roll through the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, they're pretty much rolling through. It's unfortunate.
I would be all for a situation where it's the Thunder and the Knicks in the finals. And, well, obviously, if we could not get the Thunder in the finals, that'd be great. But if it has to be the Thunder, they're going to play the Knicks in the finals. And then America's team becomes the Bing Bong. And I like that. I'm kind of all in on that. I like them as the
America's
underdog
team, though.
Absolutely. Everybody would be rooting for the Knicks.
Would they?
Nobody wants to see the Thunder win anymore. Their reputation is in the tank.
Okay, so I don't follow. I
think, right, Joey?
Know this.
Nobody likes watching them anymore.
No one enjoys watching the Thunder just because of how they play and how they pretty much how they get to the free throw line.
I co-sign on all of that. I have no thoughts on the Knicks as a team.
Team Bing Bong.
I just don't like the fan base. I just don't want to see that fan base win a championship.
I think they're hilarious.
More so that my entire life, and even going back to a really young age, when it was the Knicks Rockets, the schadenfreude that people have when the Knicks lose is really high. So it's hard to imagine
it's a win-win
that it's going to flip where it'd be like, oh, well, this is what we want now.
It's a win-win because you get to make fun of the Knicks when they inevitably do lose in like 5 games to the Thunder in the finals.
Famously against the Pacers twice.
It feels like it's setting up for the Knicks to not make the NBA finals.
It's going to be the Pistons.
So the
or
NBA
Cavs.
has to reckon with like Oklahoma City, Cleveland, Oklahoma City, Detroit. And that would make me laugh.
I'd like to see Detroit get to the finals. That would be fun to see.
Although the path really opens for LeBron if Cleveland makes the finals, that he could just go back there and be like,
they were discussing that yesterday.
I'm the missing
like,
piece.
Is he going to go back to Cleveland? And it's like, that doesn't seem like that would be the last arc of his career.
One of the markets predicted the Celtics has a 1% chance to get LeBron.
Oh dear God!
I don't even know why that would be a consideration.
Pull a Shaq and end his career in Boston. Disgusting.
Yeah,
that would
play a total of 36 games and then just play from the bench.
That would be horrible.
I mean, he could replace Shireman.
No,
we can't do that. Oh, right now they got their eyes on.
Wouldn't.
Right now they got their eyes on Giannis, and there's a lot of people wanting to see them trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis.
I don't want to see Giannis be a Celtic.
I don't either. I don't want to see anybody be a Celtic.
That's not going to solve anything for the Celtics. I'm not a fan of that. I want to see Bam Adebayo on the Celtics.
What in the world? You don't get to have him. No.
We need a center.
Of course, everyone needs a center. You don't get to have the best center.
We have Neemias Queta. We have Luka Garza. Nikola Vucevic is a bust on the Celtics. I don't know why Matt's team sent him over to the Celtics. a bad.
Well,
move.
they wanted one of their 14 second-round picks, Joey.
Oh yeah, there's also a draft pick involved.
Hey, I don't make the rules, but I'm just telling you where the wind blows. D'Lo writes in on YouTube. He says, in this era of super teams and everyone's issues with that, now we hate an OKC team that's actually built the right way, and we hate that. Yes, they are built the right way. And there's no doubt about it. But do they play the right way? That's
what matters. An infuriating brand of basketball.
Yeah, right.
I, as someone who does not care, was very much rooting for the Pacers last year.
Yeah.
I got into that final.
The best example that I can, like, any team with Harden. Any team with Harden is so
Cleveland versus the Thunder has to be the nightmare scenario.
100%.
You get Harden.
That is the worst basketball brand of finals.
Harden pretty much started all this.
Really annoying.
I hated any team that had and Harden's been on 40 teams, but like the Rockets with Harden, I hated them. The Clippers with Harden, I hated them because Harden's a foul baiter.
See how you feel about him is how I feel about Russell Westbrook in a lot of ways. Very different player, but it's like wherever he's playing, I'm usually just out entirely on all of it.
Yeah, I'm totally out on anywhere.
Which I don't have any love for Harden, so I can support this as well.
Yeah, Bada Bing says the Spurs hopefully could give OKC trouble. I'm
they won 3 of the 4 regular season matchups, so there's that, but OKC's kind of elevated their game in postseason play. And that's getting me a little nervous to potentially see them run a dynasty for the next few years.
One NBA game tonight, Cavs Pistons game 5 in
Q2, right?
In the pizza box.
There's no games tomorrow. Both game 6
on
series are on Friday, and those games are on Prime.
Yeah. Best series of the conference semifinals so far, probably.
I would say those games have been.
I mean, the 2 are already over.
The Spurs T-Wolves thing is good.
Yeah, but I feel like
there's more lopsided scores mostly. There's more lopsided scores in that series, whereas the
first game was super tense.
We had Wemby drop an elbow.
Yeah, he did get kicked out of a game.
That good. That's theater for me. All right. Anyway, off and running here on a Wednesday. We'd be happy if you guys joined us along for the ride today. We'll talk some baseball and plenty more. By the way, Fremont Fred writes in, I believe I heard Connor Happer say that Harden is a blank baiter at Happenchafe. I heard what I heard. No, foul baiter. Not a different word in front of that.
Trying to get to the free throw line.
That's right. A foul baiter. All right. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Here's a take from the text line, the 515. This is from the text line. Any program that measures its worth by its performance versus Iowa and Creighton is using the wrong metrics. Performance on a national scale is how real programs evaluate their worth. First instance, UConn Hoops' record versus Creighton is irrelevant. Iowa's performance versus Nebraska is irrelevant, with the exception of the Sweet 16 game this year. The Iowa-Creighton sweeps were great, but the sweep of USC and wins over Florida State and Auburn are more relevant. Creighton's athletic program as a whole is down this year. The NEFB team has been giving away games to juggernauts like Minnesota, Illinois, and Troy, in addition to multiple directional powerhouses during this epic Iowa run. They haven't been a bowl team. There's kind of a lot of different ideas in there from Texter from the 515. But indeed, it was a very good year, a very fruitful year for Nebraska against Creighton. The question is, what does it mean? And the answer is always going to be, it's nice to beat your rival in everything, which it is. What does it mean as far as the national scale is concerned? It was never going to mean anything. I mean, it's a big win in basketball because Creighton is traditionally a pretty good basketball program. We're talking about 3 midweek games in baseball. We're talking about a big women's basketball game. Creighton was very, very young this year. And Nebraska absolutely destroyed them. And what's the other major sport? Volleyball. Yeah, where they went 5 and it was tremendous and it drew a record crowd.
It was arguably the best game of Nebraska's season, like in terms of drama at that point, until probably
until they lost.
Yeah, Texas A&M, I guess,
maybe.
Basically. So I mean, there's certainly that.
That's what it's great for. It's good for the moments. Like, you hope that those games have moments like that, and that's what it has been usually in the past.
And I don't want to step on what the texter is ultimately trying to say, but like some of it is,
you win the game that's in front of you.
You play to win the game.
Yeah, you win the game.
You play to win the game.
Like, you can't win the national championship on a Tuesday night against Creighton,
Congrats on those teams who, as you have said, and I don't know, maybe this was a topic we were going to get to.
Topic alert.
They didn't just get rid of a game that was not necessarily super consequential. And as you said, sat at a time that sort of sits right in front of games that are a lot more consequential.
Yeah, I think that one, we could talk about that. I mean, I think that game is uniquely positioned just because of, the crowd and it's the, like, you can't get rid of it. You just can't.
It's also why I think it's going to be hard for them to move off of a midweek setup to a weekend setup, because I think people really like that end of the year game between these teams.
Well, it's been gone for a couple years. They haven't played on the last Tuesday of the regular season in a long time now. They
have played in May mostly, right? Usually it's just a week earlier.
Last year,
finish it at the end of April.
Last year, I believe their final game was on April 30th.
They usually end at the end of April.
Yeah, it's
end of April.
It's usually 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah, okay.
Than what it is.
Previous years, Creighton would play Omaha for that last midweek game.
They did it last year. Yeah, and frankly, I wondered last year. I go, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, because I was thinking about, all right, Creighton's going to try and win a Big East championship this weekend. This is last year. They got to go on the road and they got to sweep Georgetown, and they're leaving tomorrow morning. They got to get on the plane and go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not, if you're now, luckily, I think they won in 7 last year against Omaha on that final Tuesday. And it was like, you didn't have to really sweat for it or anything like that. But this is a rivalry game that takes a little bit out of you from an emotional standpoint. And, there's a lot of people there and all these different things. I just don't know if it's the best spot for it. It's a great spot for it in terms of the weather. Like, you give yourself
the fan base.
You give yourself the best potential for great weather. The fan base, obviously, like I was hoping that number would push up a little bit higher than what it ended up being last night, where we were just a little over 10,000. I was hoping that we can get it closer to 15. And maybe if they keep playing on that day in the future, they will, or, whatever sort of dictates those circumstances.
There's a very late arriving crowd too.
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
It makes it a little bit tougher.
Yeah,
with the traffic and everything
If
else.
they would have played at 7, I mean, they could have even got more.
Because there's still people streaming in like third, fourth inning.
Oh yeah. Well, and you did fireworks.
Yep.
Which is, obviously
we were well gone before then.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure they were great.
They were. It was Bellino absolutely blows it out. I mean, literally and figuratively. They are tremendous. That was
I wish I could have been there. I love stadium.
It was like a 20-minute long show. Yeah. They were very, very good. And Bellino did times. They did Friday night too. So, I'm not really decided on this one way or the other. I would hear arguments on both sides. I think it's cool that they play on May 12th. Great. They played on May 12th yesterday. Great weather, good food, fireworks. It felt like the good old days. Like it felt like summer. It almost felt like the beginning of summer in a lot of ways.
It really wanted to usurp what May 18th.
Yeah. Our beginning of summer is coming up in just a few days. But I totally understand if you were like, hey, can we not do this on the last Tuesday of the regular season because we have to go on the road? Well, in this case, both teams have to go out on the road and play on Thursday. And I just think it's too cool of a game for the fans for it to matter that little.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's any circumstances or stakes where you can make it that it's more important, but I can tell you that the one in late March felt bigger. And that was late March. It was March 31st. There was nothing on the line last night. Nebraska is obviously trying to, just hold up their end of the bargain so that they can not have a, I wrote in the rundown so that they could potentially not contract Kansas disease, which Kansas disease is losing to Creighton on the road and then losing every game after that. It seems like so
flipped on them.
And Creighton, certainly wasn't even close to throwing at anywhere near their best guys last night, and nor should they, because they are trying to win a Big East championship too, and they're trying to set themselves up for the tournament, which starts, halfway through next week. I don't know what the answer to this question is. I really don't.
I mean, I don't know that there's, as you said, there's not like a perfect time to play this. I know that we had talked previously, and I think you sort of said Mark Kingston's really interested in this being a weekend series.
Yes.
They were asking Michael Bruntz of that on the afternoon show, and he basically pointed out for Nebraska, it would more or less take place of what the main series, like you really only have that one non-conference weekend series. And his larger point is Nebraska loves it because it's an easy middle of the week. You don't have to travel as much.
And you're not potentially running into a huge RPI landmine.
Right. And, as he said, you'd have to replace it with somebody. And the chances of getting someone of the caliber of a Creighton that you're going to play that many times
very little
isn't there. So he's like, from the Nebraska perspective, I don't know why they would do it.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't really thought about it in that sense. I don't know. I don't know if there's a way that you can make it more meaningful. I was in my head, since everything's tied to NIL anyway, just like it'd be really cool if you have this major benefactor where these three teams play and there's like a little bit of NIL money for the program at stake.
Oh, that's fun. That's interesting.
So that way there's like something there, to add to it. But I don't know who the benefactor would be of such a thing.
Somebody comes in, FNBO comes in. Sorry, FNBO, but I'm
they're like the first people I think of for this too.
FNBO comes in and they're like, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring a chest to the game.
You can do it for any of the, whether it's Omaha, Nebraska, Creighton, anytime they're playing.
That'd be very funny if they brought a chest.
It doesn't have to be a super large amount of money.
How about a briefcase?
That would be cool.
They bring a briefcase to the game. It sits behind home plate the entire game, and you open it up. It's like gold, like it is on Deal or No Deal or whatever. And they're like, "What's inside? Winner gets."
Okay,
and it's like $12 or something like that.
How many times does Creighton play UNO? Is it 2 or 3?
They played them 2 this year.
Most years, is it 2?
It's usually
3.
You
know what? They played them 3 this year.
Yeah, it's usually 3.
They played them 3 this year.
I feel like with Nebraska, it's usually 1. Sometimes it's been 2. But what if you had an amount, like you had the total amount of games between those 3 teams?
Yeah.
You have that amount of briefcases, and then it is like Deal, No Deal. You win the game, you go select the briefcase. All the other briefcases are still there. You just get the amount of money that's in the briefcase for that game.
Nebraska would have given themselves a great shot. Because they didn't lose a game to anyone. They didn't. They lost. They won.
Imagine you're in
all the briefcases.
You're in this 4-hour Creighton UNO game the other day.
There's a briefcase at the end of it.
There's a briefcase at the end of it. You're going to be a little bit more fired up for things.
It's a great idea.
So.
And let's say Creighton won the game last night, right? So Nebraska won every other game against both teams except for one, and Creighton had the $1 million case.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't this be amazing?
That'd be fantastic.
Could you imagine the actual competition and the stakes would be raised?
Yeah,
significantly if it's there's a lot of money in this last remaining briefcase.
This is very good.
I don't know, who do we pitch this to?
I'll ask some people.
Okay,
yeah.
Right.
I'll see what we could do. Specifically
I'll reach out to my
side.
First National Bank contacts who are basically going to be
yes,
stop talking about us like this.
Well,
we're not giving away $1 million.
We are volunteering you to spend money, and it doesn't have to be $1 million. It could be a few thousand.
Yeah,
that's really
exactly.
all we're talking about. It's more about
not going to be.
It's more about the side of it than anything else. I just want the briefcase. Can you supply the briefcase? I
want the ceremony afterwards.
Get the stage out.
Yeah.
Something like that.
No, just have it in the bleachers or something.
Have the briefcase out in the bleachers?
Yeah, just have the people with the briefcase in the bleachers.
Like a Secret Service type of deal?
With, you have 8 people walking around the game and they have it handcuffed to their wrist with the briefcase?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like this.
Yeah.
Especially now.
They're
people are taking photos with them.
Yeah, they're dressed up as FBI agents. They have no emotions or anything like that.
I'll have a dedicated section for them. Just standing there.
Imagine how much aura that would add to this game. All the kids are aura farming.
I would be very aura farming.
Yeah, it would be
aura. What is aura?
Aura maxing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. People say it. I just said it. I don't know if it was in the right context. I don't know.
We don't know. We're old.
No, we don't. Text from the 515 follow up says the relevance has everything. This is all caps, by the way. The relevance has everything to do with the teams being nationally relevant. You can play the game anywhere, anytime if they're good. Yeah, but let's just say, okay, hard to tell, but let's just say Creighton, you play the exact same circumstances last night, and Creighton is in the position that they were in last year, right? Which going into the final of the weekend, they were going to win the Big East, it looked like, and they had almost 40 wins by that point, if not close to 40 wins, right? They're both borderline top 25 teams. Nebraska is a bona fide top 20 team. Does that add? I don't. Both teams still need whatever's coming up 2 days later.
Right.
It doesn't. It takes it makes it better from the fan perspective, but I don't think it makes it actually better on the field. I don't know.
I don't know why I don't need it to mean significantly more.
I don't either, but I don't either. But that's what the texter said.
Some of it is we do this a lot. Is we need to stop devaluing wins. The point of these things are to win games.
Facts.
Shout
out to RPI.
How many
Listen
years
up,
Nebraska
RPI
hasn't been winning this series. It shouldn't matter less now to people because Creighton isn't as good this year.
No.
I distinctly remember what the conversation was immediately after Nebraska got their first win. And it was well, that was nice to get. They almost blew it, but it's good that they did it.
Yeah.
And then same thing after a win too. And then last night, or not that there's a lot of people talking, but there's no reason to devalue it. It's still valuable. That's why you play.
I think for Nebraska, it was more valuable that they didn't lose. But
sure.
You're right. I'm trying to square it up in the context of the entire thing. Of course,
right.
Game by game, you have this game in front of you. You would like to win it, and Creighton's disappointed that they didn't win it, and Nebraska's excited that they did win it. But
in the total context.
the second the game ends, it's all right, great, we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to Minneapolis. Peace,
But inside of that, there's people that's the last time that they'll play each other. It's the last time that you have the opportunity, if you're a Creighton player that's a senior, to play Nebraska, et cetera, et cetera. That should matter too, to some level.
So we can. There's a couple questions that we can get to here. Also, continue to bounce off ideas here for the Money in the Bank game between Nebraska and Creighton, which is very, very exciting. We get the briefcase. It's got some shining gold lights coming out of it. Maybe it's Marcellus Wallace's soul. Who knows?
I'm gonna need an explanation on the reference.
Pulp Fiction.
Marcellus. I was not putting that together.
That's what they say, right? It's Marcellus Wallace's soul.
Yeah, I just was not expecting Pulp Fiction for some reason.
It's really up to you. Whatever is in the briefcase, it just shines in gold. You never actually figure it out from Pulp Fiction.
You do not.
But maybe that's what we do. We give it to whoever team wins. They don't tell anybody.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they're like, "Oh," but it's actually.
Dude, what I kind of like is just there's the large amount of all the briefcases together, what that total money is.
Yes.
And then you get like a graphic and you see it start to go down a little bit, like each time a briefcase is.
Well, you have the literal Deal or No Deal graphic just like up on the video board during the game.
Basically.
That sounds tremendous.
I'm sure we could get Howie Mandel out here for it. I know you're a big fan.
I think Deal or No Deal is great. A great show. He doesn't seem like a very good person.
Just find any bald man that they could pull off the
Interesting. I know a couple. Let's take a break. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Bananas and Bangers is about to wrap up pretty soon. So get your walk-up song in at 1620thezone.com, powered by McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. Let us know what your walk-up song would be, and you could win a 4-pack of sweet tickets to see the Savannah Bananas play at Memorial Stadium. Do we know which team in the Banana Ball League that they are playing?
I could probably Google.
I'll tell you what, I learned a lot yesterday when I was listening to Marty, who came on with Matt yesterday, Marty Cordero. You know Marty Cordero, the Omaha Storm Chasers president. He was talking about all sorts of baseball leagues that I had not understood.
Okay. Was he getting into the cosmic?
They had
stuff?
the cosmic baseball over the weekend, which apparently there could potentially be more types of sports that are cosmic soon.
Oh wow.
I don't know what they are not involved with bananas. They don't even like bananas.
Wow.
Yeah, they get potassium from other sources.
So I wonder with the cosmic, like, are they affiliated with Little Debbie snacks at all? Like those cosmic brownies, or is that part of this whole experience?
Great question.
The only time I've ever seen the word cosmic used was labeled with brownies when I was a kid.
The cosmic brownies.
When they kind of made the switch from the ones that had the little chopped walnut to going to specifically with the cosmic candy.
Okay.
So they're
I'm looking at
the
it
firefighters in Lincoln in both games, the 11th at Haymarket and then obviously at Memorial Stadium.
So meanwhile, there's going to be other teams from the Banana Ball League that play in like different locations. There's 2 other teams that have interesting logos that are playing on the Jersey Shore that weekend as well, and then one in Morgantown, West Virginia as well. But yes, it is the Bananas in the Firefighters, I think.
Yeah, that's what it
is. That what they're called?
That's what Al said. I mean, their logo's there as well, so I'm assuming it is Firefighters.
Bananas. We got all right here. Here are the 6 teams in the Banana League: the Bananas, the Party Animals. I've heard of them. The Firefighters. That's who they're playing when they come to Nebraska. The Texas Tailgaters, the Loco Beach Coconuts, and the Indianapolis Clowns.
Heard of the Clowns, but it's because that's been a thing for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess they're getting the Bananas and the Firefighters. Is this what it is?
They're getting the Bananas versus the Firefighters. A great rivalry, in my opinion. Anyway, Bananas and Bangers, 1620thezone.com. Get in your walk-up song right now. I wanted to get to a comment from before, speaking of baseball. I'm touching this for another couple minutes. Sindelar writes in, he says, what was Ed's secret sauce in motivating his players to play hard against Nebraska? So, I mean, it's definitely, a different deal. Like they, Ed very much cared about winning that game. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And I think at times, you get into the 4th and 5th and 6th innings of those games, and it's a midweek game, so they're all going to be close up until that period of time. It's sort of rare where you just have one team, jump out. Like obviously that was the case last night. But I was saying that those teams kind of tend to have some sort of like magnetism toward each other, because that's how all 3 games have gone this year. Nebraska jumps out, they look like they're in control, and then here comes Creighton crawling on back. And they weren't able to crawl as close back.
I got a text that says, I see we're following the script today.
Yeah, it really was. That was exactly what it was. But, once it got to that point where it got to the 6th and 7th and it was like, all right, this is a tight game, they would sell out to try and win, regardless of what was coming up. And that was his thing in general, which was win the game in front of you.
Right.
Which I absolutely and completely respect. Like that is, that's a generally good way to approach business. At the same time, you understand that we're at the end of the regular season, a long season, and you got a game coming up in 48 hours. Creighton has a game coming up in 48, less than 48 hours from last night at a major league ballpark.
Right.
A game that they're going to have to be emotionally prepared for. That's still really big, and things like that. And so, some people look at it in the one game thing, and they had their struggles on the weekend with Ed, and then some people look at it from more of like a holistic, this is how we get into the tournament type of perspective. And frankly, the way that Creighton gets into the tournament is not beating Nebraska.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for them unless they are threatening to be an at-large, which is very, very difficult. And in their case, went out the window a while ago.
Right. And so, I mean, and then the other thing is Nebraska just has sort of an interesting pitching setup this year where 3 of the guys who have pitched on the weekends for them have been the ones that have primarily been involved.
They have a 4th, and the Tuesday guy has ended up being kind of the one guy that gets kicked out every time.
Right.
And Katsky was good last night.
He was good last night. I was kind of curious, like if Creighton was going to jump on him the way that other teams sort of have.
Yeah,
giving up a lot of home runs, but he was in control last night.
He definitely was. So that's a good sign for Nebraska,
Agreed.
Obviously, as well. They're at Minnesota. A couple of those games on TV this weekend, and then Creighton goes to Xavier this weekend, final weekend, the regular season in college baseball. We will take a break, come back, 7 o'clock hour, up on the other side on 1620 The Zone. By the way, a couple more ideas here on what we do to the Nebraska Creighton baseball series. What if the stack of cash is actually a cake? Travis said you get a cake, and then inside the cake is a treasure map showing where the cash actually is, essentially turning the Nebraska Creighton game into a Legends of the Hidden Temple situation. Now that is interesting.
Now, do they?
But
do
only
they
for the
wear
winner.
Legends of the Hidden Temple style uniforms. Like, do we have
maybe a patch?
The purple monkeys and the silver barracudas?
No, because that would lead to disastrous uniforms for both sides.
Okay, I have actually a question for you.
Okay.
What uniform were the kids that ran onto the field? Like, what are they wearing?
I think they were wearing their uniforms.
Okay.
For their baseball team.
Okay.
Yeah.
That made, because it was like green or whatever.
I thought there was a team before the game. I didn't know what they were.
Right. And I didn't get there early enough. I just saw them run onto the field and I was like, does Creighton's like kids group wear green uniforms? What is happening?
No, I think it was like their own little league uniform.
I don't know. First
that's usually a thing
that's
for
what kids
baseball
usually
games.
wear, right? Their own team.
Yeah, that's usually a thing. They'll show up in groups.
I have no idea.
You think Creighton was giving them all jerseys?
I kind of hope so.
You get a jersey. Get a jersey.
Like, isn't that what one of the, is it the Royals? Like, I feel like there's some place that if you sign up to be part of their kids club, you get a jersey. And then if you get invited to run out onto the field with them, they have you wear that jersey.
Interesting.
I thought that was one of the baseball teams in the area, but I don't know who that would be.
Maybe it's not the Serp Chasers. They have the little league teams all the time that run out with the players.
Yeah.
They go and they're attached to their guy and they're wearing their own uniforms.
Makes way more sense to me trying to figure out why these kids were wearing St. Patrick's Day uniforms or something alongside the Creighton blue.
That'd be very funny.
And I was kind of stumped by the whole thing.
Oh,
now I know.
I don't think
as often
it was that much of a stumper.
The answer here is I'm an idiot.
Yeah, it wasn't that much of a stumper, to be honest with you.
We'll go there.
You're an idiot. All right, so
thank you, John.
Did you I saw this column last week from Matt Hayes of USA Today. They're trying to be very positive this week, okay? But this is not a very positive column. In fact, I don't even know why this column happened, but it did. And the headline is this: Nebraska mortgaged its future on Matt Rule. Now comes the hope part. If you want to blame someone for Rule's contract extension, blame Nebraska with the giant hook in its mouth. And then he went on to just basically for several paragraphs, kind of just like openly make fun of Nebraska as a program. If the agent of a coach with a 19-18 record says he's thinking about leaving for his alma mater, you say do what you must and take another swing at hiring someone who can. How can I say this with a simple, bare bones ask? Beat Iowa. My God, imagine that laughable concept a couple of decades ago. You don't just offer up an extension and hope it works, and he's the one. You're not staring at a $63 million buyout at the end of this season, or $54 million buyout at the end of 27, or a $44 million buyout at the end of 28, all of which would be more expensive than any other buyout in the side of Jimbo Fisher and Brian Kelly. So this is based upon the buyout thing, which we discussed this briefly last week, Schaefer. I don't know why this is just coming up now. This is a well-known thing that the contract is not good. The contract is not good, but it comes back up because a guy on Twitter got out his notepad and drew some stuff on a list last week for, and whatever. But I don't know why this is coming up right now, but here it is. That is not the point of me reading this article. It says, hope doesn't help your quarterback complete 70% of his passes and have a 4-to-1 or better touchdown or interception ratio. Hope doesn't help you run the ball in the red zone and dictate tempo on both sides of the ball. And it sure as hell doesn't help you win games. Hope has averaged 6 losses a season at Nebraska, has produced 3 NFL draft selections in 3 years, all 3 after the 24 season. Hope canceled a 26-27 home series with Tennessee last September because of stadium renovations. Hope replaced those heavyweight non-conference games with Bowling Green and Miami, Ohio. Hope is 0-8 versus ranked teams, adding to Nebraska's utter humility in those games. during the playoff era. A 2-34 record does not hope make, son. Hope is another season, another loss to a bitter rival, which of course coincides with hope and a 2-10 record in November. And in 2026, Hope's name is Anthony Calandria, and it tells all the things about Nebraska quarterbacks, and then they make fun of every Nebraska quarterback since 2000 and things like that, and all the other Nebraska football coaches. So I don't get what's so bad about, like, I don't think Nebraska is blindly putting their faith into Matt Rule, but I suppose you can make that argument, and I suppose that's what Matt Hayes is doing here.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the sort of, gist of this is that this is a program that has attached itself to someone that hasn't shown the ability to win there at a high level, which is true. We haven't seen an inkling that Nebraska can win at a really high level. What we have seen is that they've raised the floor of their program.
Well,
the value of that is sort of in the beholder of who chooses to decide.
See, here's the deal. Like, I'm not here to defend what Rule has done so far. Like, I don't think it's, I don't think it's been abhorrent. Like you said, I think the floor is up. I also think it could have gone further over the last 3 years. That's for sure.
I agree.
But if we make fun of programs for putting their faith in a coach, therefore keeping him around, and the extension, I think, is the main culprit here of the angst, which I understand and we could talk about separately. But in general, what Nebraska is doing here is they're saying, we think that we have the guy who's going to be able to figure this out. We're going to put our faith in him, and we're going to let him. We're going to see where this ends up with him. If we have that, and on the other hand, we have, I'm mad at Nebraska because all they do is churn and burn and fire coaches every 2 years, and we're mad at both sides, then I don't really understand what we're doing here.
This is the Stuart Mandel thing that I was talking about, where it's just like, you pick your argument, you dunk on a team, they do what you want them to do, then you get mad that they did what you wanted them to do in the first place.
Yeah.
So I agree. There's a world where you can be Auburn and you're just churning through coaches endlessly.
That sounds way worse.
And
I don't want to be Auburn at all.
Right. And
no part of me wants to be Auburn.
The other thing about this, and again, this is not a defense of it. And if you want to go back and listen to how I felt about what Nebraska should do prior to them doing it, you can probably find audio and or written things of me saying, hey, I wouldn't offer an extension. I would let things play out. And if you have to go hire a coach, you're in a better position to do it than you would have been previously. They went and they signed the extension. When they started the framework of this extension, Nebraska had not hit its free fall for its season at this point.
That's true.
They had lost one game to Michigan. That is when, they hadn't lost to Minnesota yet when the conversation started about the extension. Whether or not they were good, you can decide that on your own. I mean, obviously the season didn't play out how anybody hoped that it did, but when the contract extension conversation was happening, Nebraska was 5-1 or whatever they were.
Yeah, but it wasn't it wasn't like, oh my God, he's going to be a rocket ship if they end up. The thing is,
they were betting on the fact that they were going to be upwardly mobile from where they were a year before, which is still better than where they had been previously.
Okay, so let's go back. Was the extension a reaction to Penn State, or was the extension a reaction to I think he's going to be a hot commodity by the end of the year?
I think the extension was a reaction to, we like this guy. We think he's the guy for this program. They're having a good start to this season. We want to commit to him. That's what I think it was. Plus, you have the Penn State factor in there.
But the urgency for it was brought on by Penn State.
Sure. Because there was nobody else that you're worried about was going to hire Matt Rule on that point in time.
That's what I'm saying.
And so I get that. I wouldn't have done it. And again, if you think that's just hindsight,
it was definitely unnecessary.
I said it before it happened.
Yeah.
They did choose to do it. I think it's important to acknowledge that when this all was going down, Nebraska hadn't come off of 3 losses where they got the doors blown off of them at the end of a season. It was in the, in the build of it.
It's not worth being.
When Matt Rule was discussed as a candidate, Nebraska was a fringe top 25 team. That's the honest to God truth of it.
Yeah, see, I don't think it's worth being mad about. Like, I don't think it's worth like a scathing. Now, like, if you want to take the angle of this is bad for college sports and coaches' buyouts are needlessly too big and blah, 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 blah. Like, I am all ears for that direction. And I think there's absolutely a lot of truth to that. But like, I think Headley on YouTube kind of describes my feelings pretty well. He said, the extension makes 0 sense, but oh, well, it's not my money.
Right.
So keep this in mind too. Obviously, those are big numbers that get thrown around, but we all agree, even if you take the buyout out of it, just pretend the buyout is $0. I don't think he was getting fired after this upcoming season, pretty much no matter what, unless it's a bottom out disaster.
Scandal.
Unless it's a bottom out disaster, he wasn't going anywhere
and
after this year. And they're not going to bottom out disaster this year. In my opinion, I agree with you, Schaefer. And so then you're looking ahead to next year. And then, you're in the $50 million range in terms of a buyout, which is obviously a lot. But I also think we've seen enough around college football to say no number is prohibitive.
Yeah.
Like if you really, really felt like you had to get rid of them after next year, which I don't think we're going to be there. If you really, really felt like you had to get rid of them after the 2027 season, and it's like this program will slide if we don't do this, then you will do what's necessary to make that happen. That has always been the case in college football. They paid the Jimbo buyout, or they're paying the Jimbo buyout, and it will always be the case. Now, was it senseless in the fact that you didn't have to attach that money to it? Of course. Yeah. But I they do it, and it's not my money.
To that same idea, let's say that you never do the extension, or you do the extension and it goes horribly wrong. At any rate, you're going to have to pay someone out to buy out the rest of their contract, and then turn around in the market of which this contract is signed, hire another coach and pay him a bunch of money with the potential of a buyout without any guarantee that it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the cycle that you're in. That's always the cycle that you're in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
But here they're just saying, well, the buyout is too much for what you've gotten in return. And to that, we just discussed that.
That's true of every coach in America.
Of course it is. The buyouts are absurd.
And again,
I don't know what. I don't know why. What propelled them?
The thing is a weird timing of it.
Yeah,
I said.
I don't know. I don't know what propelled them to do it with as much money attached to it as they did. That's got to be just an agent thing. Yeah, it's just an agent thing. I don't know what grounds he had to be like, hey, $60 million. That's what I want if you fire me. I don't know. Like his agent must be pretty good. But
it was already going to be still, even if nothing had been done, it still would have been relatively high.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the
way
original
that it was
contract
structured.
was.
I think it was still going to be in the high 40s if nothing had happened, even at the end of this year. I think. Don't know for sure on that.
Wonder if I could pull up the original Matt Rule contract at Nebraska. Well, they took the original contract down off of the internet. Let's see if there's anything in a news story about a buyout eventually. I don't know what it was at first.
Search the computer to see if we have any.
Search the computer. That's a great idea. Here's a comment from Sindelar on YouTube. He says, I think an underachieving program hiring a pretty good coach, hoping they catch lightning in a bottle in one of his 7 years leading the program, is more fruitful than churning and burning every 3. I'd pick so-so seasons of stability over constant resets if they're offering the same wins and loss results in that time. Completely and totally agree. I mean, the issue, if I'm to describe it one way, for Nebraska football over the last 20 years, like if I had to really, really hone in on one thing, it's instability. And that's not just hiring and firing coaches. That is hiring and firing assistants and hiring and firing administrations and things like that. And so I don't think there's anything that guarantees you this like stability, but that's what they have right now, which I do think is, for some reason, in this world that we live in and in our market in particular, is undervalued. I know the stability,
which is just amazing.
I know the stability isn't at the level that people want it to be, but it is. There is a foundation here that I think is important. Like I said, I think the chances of them really bottoming out is pretty small, and I do think that shouldn't matter for Nebraska in 2026. I don't think they're bottoming out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not super bullish on them winning a bunch of games.
Me neither.
I'm bullish on them being a very average to above average team and sort of finishing around 6 or 7 wins. I feel pretty confident in that.
And I know that's a hard pill to swallow.
Right.
Like I get it.
It's not super exciting to sit here and be like, your football team's more than likely 80% chance.
Here's the outlook.
Going to win between
5 and 7 games.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Now,
I get it.
Could things change? Absolutely. But they have to make it happen.
Let's take a phone call here on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. We have Lane this morning. Hey, Lane, what's up?
Hey, Connor. Hey, Schaefer. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good to hear. I'm driving in Lincoln here this morning. I just wanted to give you guys a quick call. Listening to the show, I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. We can't just keep firing coaches, as they say. But I want to take us back to like a chronological timeline here. Okay, so like Matt Rule and Nebraska were 5-1 after James Franklin was fired. They beat Maryland. It was a close, ugly game, but they found a way to pull it out. It was kind of a feeling of relief. And then, okay, so Franklin that same day is fired. And then the next week, Matt Rule, he didn't just come out and say, yep, I'm with Nebraska, period. I'm not going to take the Penn State job. He flirted around with the Penn State athletic director in a couple press conferences. Okay. And then what happened? That whole week, it was, is Matt Rule going to go to Penn State? And what happened? They went to Minnesota and they absolutely laid an egg. And I think a lot of fans are like, why? Our season was going pretty good last year. Why the heck did Matt Rule even engage in this stuff? If he's all about kids and all about Nebraska, why is he making the most valuable player on his team his agent? That's all I got to say, and I'll listen. Thank you.
Thanks, Lane. Appreciate it. Any thoughts on that? I mean, the general consensus was that he wasn't going to end up there. But when he got fired, he immediately became candidate number 1. And now it's very rare that a coach will come out during the season. And we also have to consider, what the hell does it mean when a coach comes out during the season and says, I am not a candidate for that job. I bleed big red, and this is my life, and I'll be here forever. Like, we've heard coaches say that type of thing before, and then it end up not being true. And then they leave, and it's like, oh my God, geez, you didn't really have to go that far, man. Did you? And so all he said was nothing. All he did.
You kind of just think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You 100% are. And so I don't think that's why that happened at Minnesota, but the timeline is right. I mean, Nebraska beat Maryland. Franklin got fired the next day, and then they went on the road to Minnesota on a short week and got absolutely blitzed and played like ass.
Yep. Had their worst performance of the entire season. Really their worst performance since like the Indiana game, basically.
Poop. It was poop. Poop.
And they deserved to get kicked in the mouth that day.
They did. But was it because Matt Rule was it committal?
No, I don't think it had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
I think it had to do with completely and utterly underestimating the team that they were going to go play.
That game.
And the worst offensive game plan that a potentially terrible offensive coordinator, we'll find out if that's true or not this year, he'll be out of excuses, put together. They didn't utilize the hometown running back that they had just really needed to beat Maryland the week before.
Mm-hmm.
You could not cook up a stupider game plan offensively than what Dana Holgorsen was attempting to do against a team that had a pretty decent pass rush. And he just continued to, not to mention the idiocy at the end of the game where you have no chance of winning and you're still letting your quarterback get sacked.
Yeah.
The coaching malpractice in that game is so high and so embarrassing that, it's going to take a long time to get the stink off of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think about that game every so often, and it is just endlessly frustrating.
And then you had all the chances in the world to end that conversation by just finishing off USC at home, and you couldn't do that either.
So wasn't there a thing where like they couldn't get off the field on third down too? Yeah.
In the second half, yeah.
Yeah, it was a mess from so many different angles. And I gotta be honest with you, that game just absolutely sticks in my craw. Like whenever I start to think overly, not that it comes down to like, black and white, binary, positive versus negative, but once I start going down the positivity train and I'm like, you know what? Okay, all right, I can see this working out this way and this working out this way, and maybe their ceiling is higher than I thought, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, but that Minnesota game really kills me.
No, I mean, there's one
game I'm never going to forget. I mean, that game we cannot forget about. We must never forget.
Part of 2026 for me is that they can't add another game like they had of Michigan State, UCLA, Michigan State 24, UCLA 25, or excuse me, Michigan State 23, UCLA 24, Minnesota 25, where you're clearly better than the other team and you just don't show up. They did that in all three of those games.
Yeah, I'm not convinced on any of the. I don't know that Nebraska was better or whatever.
You don't think they were better than 2024 UCLA?
I don't know,
because they showed up horrible game plan and played poorly throughout that game.
They were poor. They were bad. Yeah, there's no.
So
doubt.
like, I mean,
I definitely agree with that. They no showed.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know that they were
no show when they play Wisconsin like 2 weeks later and beat the crap out of them on the same field.
Yeah.
So like
that's the lesson here.
They didn't no show when they went to the Coliseum and went toe to toe with USC and should have won that game too. But against UCLA, one of the worst teams in your conference at home in a game that you need to get to 6 wins, you sucked.
It's the stuff, but that's the stuff that makes me think if you can't be expected to.
That's what I mean. Like if it's going to happen every year, then that's. Really
then how good are you? Like I can't sit there and say that Nebraska is better than X.
But that's one of those things that comes up for me this year. It's like, okay, if you only win 7 games, but you don't have a performance like that where you just let a team that has no business beat you that day, I think that's a step in the right direction.
No more disasters.
That would be a nice.
No more no-shows. That would be nice. All right, I want to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You could feel free to call or text that number. Tweeted us at Happen Schaefer. We'll see what we got there. And you can email us, Connor, Mike at 1620thezone.com. I do have a couple tweets, so we'll get to those on the other side. Text from you all as well after this on 1620 The Zone. if you were host of Happer and Schaefer, you had lunch at Qdoba yesterday. This is an unplanned show meetup.
I can't believe I wasn't invited.
I can't believe it
Nobody
either.
was invited.
Nobody was invited, though. It was just a chance encounter. I didn't see Schaefer at work yesterday, but I saw him at Qdoba.
The Qdoba was very good.
It was tremendous. They did a great job with the burrito.
They really did.
Sometimes
They
you
really
don't get it. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it's got a hole in it. Sometimes they don't fill it up enough. When you got a burrito maker that really does it right, you stick with it.
That location in particular has been pretty good. There's a few one Lincoln location where it was like really hit or miss every time.
The mall?
No, not that one.
Yeah, that one was good.
The mall was good. It was the one that was down south when I moved.
See, I never go down south.
Oh, really up and down.
Never go to South Lincoln.
Really, really up and down.
That's the key.
Well, when you live there, it's kind of hard not to go there. But now I don't live there anymore, so I probably won't be back.
Should have just used the North Kansas City suburbs to get your lunch.
I would always people like, oh, where are you at now? Northwest Kansas City.
Pretty much the story. By the way, speaking of locations, this is a odd transition, I suppose. I saw the Nebraska baseball account was absolutely taking several victory laps last night. Did you see this? They were ripping off tweets nonstop for like several minutes. So let's see. They started with, all right, we won. Nice, congratulations. This is at 9:20 last night, and then Tuesdays are for sweeps now too at 94. Or at 10 at 9:24, excuse me. Tuesdays are for sweeps now too, coming off of sweeps of Nebraska or of Iowa and Creighton. Bye birdie. This is at 9:27. So we're 3-minute intervals here. 9:27, bye birdie, and it's Randy Johnson with a Herbie Husker hat who murdered that bird at a spring training game, and they superimposed the Blue Jay logo on top of it. It exploded at 9:27. Boom at 9:40, so 13 minutes later. Red burns bright at 9:43, 3 minutes later. That summer sweet feeling at 10 o'clock. Omaha's team at 9:22. And then there was something about Haymarket North as well earlier in the game, and they were just getting after it.
I did see the Haymarket North. I was like, that's the only one I saw. When you said location, that's what I thought you
I always refer to Lincoln as being west of here. Do Lincolnites refer to Omaha as being north of? Now, it is both north and east, to be fair.
But it's more notable that it's north than it is east.
Really?
I think.
I always think of Omaha being east of Lincoln. Not north.
Yeah, but that's because the prism of how you view it is everything's west of Omaha. Like that's generally
that
the
is
view
true. That
of
is
how
true.
everything is in Omaha. It's not north or south. Everything's just west because you really can't get further east.
That's true.
So
there's
everything,
no doubt.
like the only prism. This is
semantics, but I'm glad we're getting into it.
It's not like it's any sort of like criticism or anything. And what I mean by it though is like you grow up here, everything is always west of you. So like the running joke of Western Nebraska.
Absolutely.
Is born out of the fact that you can't get any further east.
100%.
So, like for everybody else, like when I think of Omaha from Columbus, it's just pretty due east. Like you don't.
Okay.
But from Lincoln, you are going north, and then you're going over to the east. So I think of Lincoln as south. I think of Omaha as east.
Wow. And so I
think of North Platte as west.
I don't want you to speak for all.
I definitely don't speak for all. So I think a lot of it just has to do.
But I do think you're right about the Omahans and everything being viewed as just west of here. I think you nailed that. That is true. But what would a common Lincolnite say about the direction in which Omaha is located from their hometown? I think
they would say north.
That's what it seems to me.
I would just combine it, say northeast.
Well, yeah, but you can have the
let's just say, Joey, it had to be one or the other. You have to pick north or east. Which one is it?
I would say east.
I would say east too, but he's an Omaha guy, and I'm an Omaha guy. And you would say,
and I would just say
north. but you're a non-Omaha guy.
Right.
So I think you nailed it.
Because I don't really think of it. I don't really think of Omaha as significantly more east than Lincoln.
Well, I guess we could do the math.
45 minutes.
We could do the math. We could do the math and like see actually if it is more north or more east.
This is a good use of our time.
Now you would have to, if you were going from South Lincoln to the Chuck Box, then it's more.
I think it's more.
It's got to be more east, right? If you're just doing downtown to downtown,
what's the longitude latitude? Right, like that's where we're coming at here.
Just go on a Google map and just be the judge yourselves.
I don't. Joey, do you want to look this up for us?
I'm looking at a map right now.
I think a lot of it is how I view it based off just growing up in Columbus, which is you were always going south to Lincoln.
Oh, it looks pretty close.
Very close.
It's due northeast. Yeah. I'm just eyeballing it off of the map right now.
But
it's close.
But Lincoln's further east than you realize, right?
No, I realized I got a good sense of how far east Lincoln was when I would drive from Lincoln to Kansas City.
That's why I don't think of Omaha as east so much as I think of it as north.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like you're that far.
Because it's only an hour from Lincoln to the river.
Not even an hour. Like 45 minutes.
Right.
So not that's 45 an hour.
I always say it takes an hour to get from Omaha to Lincoln, but it's really 45 depending on where you're at.
Well, it depends on what your landmark is. When it's Buc-ee's, it's only going to be about 35 minutes.
That's true. That's true. Exit 4, whatever
432.
426. Yeah, 432. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Gretna exit.
I should never not trust Joey, by the way.
Do you have like mile markers just memorized?
No, I mean, from Omaha to Lincoln, it's pretty easy because there's
only like 4 of them.
Yeah, there's 4. There's like outside of the 370 exit, it's 432 over in Gretna, and then you got
420.
426 over at
Ashland.
Yeah, and then there's 420 at Greenwood, and then 409 at Waverly.
Mm-hmm.
Then 405 at I think it's 56th Street, and then 403 at 27th. 401 is the 180.
Downtown. Yeah.
399 is the airport.
McDonald's.
Yeah. I almost never think about exit numbers.
397 is the last.
I only know this because I did this a lot when I was a kid because we would drive out to Hastings.
Sure.
So 312 is Highway 281 to get to Hastings, and I know nothing after 312. Absolutely nothing after 312. Even though I've taken multiple trips to Denver in my adulthood and sort of made mental note, but I pretty much know everything from 312 to 450, whatever it is.
I think 272 is Kearney, and that's usually the
nice.
When I go to Colorado, we'll get off the interstate at Kearney, go south towards Kansas, just go through rural Kansas and Colorado.
You're taking 70 over?
No, we're not taking 70 over. We're just taking random highways because there's a pass from Denver that's really bad, and then there's one like south of Pueblo, which is not as bad, and we'll take that.
All right, hold on. Couple comments from you all here. Here's from the 402. I'm from Lincoln, and I always say east, not north. All right, so that theory may have been at least a little bit debunked. And then Ryan in Delaware writes in, he asked ChatGPT, of course, if Omaha is more north than east of Lincoln. It's probably a very confusing question to ask ChatGPT, but he asked, is Omaha, Nebraska more north than east of Lincoln? And ChatGPT said, yes, Omaha is more north than east. Omaha is roughly 50 miles. Well, that doesn't answer the question correctly then. It says Omaha is roughly 50 miles east of Lincoln, about 6 to 7 miles north of Lincoln, which neither is true. So Omaha is mostly east of Lincoln, but it is also slightly north. So ChatGPT, of course, does a ChatGPT thing and completely contradicts itself, and it comes up with an idiotic answer. Thank you, ChatGPT. You never fail. Greg from Hastings writes in, exit 300 is Wood River, home of Scofro. Matches his winning percentage. That's true. There used to be a Scofro sticker right on that sign. It's not there anymore, interestingly enough.
I'm now like trying to think of how many of these exits I've taken throughout my life.
Oh, yeah. I would
I've definitely exited in Wood River to get gas before.
It's usually dependent on
Gothenburg.
Gothenburg I've been. I mean, I think I've been to all of those towns along I-80.
Gothenburg's a great stop. Lexington's a great stop. North Platte's a great stop.
Kearney's a great stop.
Kearney's a great
The
stop. They start at the
Ogallala
Kearney Arch.
Casey's was a common stop for me driving out to Colorado. Like that's usually where I was grabbing gas the next time.
Yep, that would be the last one for about 200 miles.
Right. Yeah,
until you actually
very valuable.
until you get to Fort
They're
Morgan.
very popular Casey's. I know that much.
There is not a breath of civilization for if you're going to Denver, so you're about to split off on 76 at Ogallala, and you're in no man's land for 2 hours.
You're white knuckling to that Sinclair in eastern Colorado, and if you're not getting it there, then you're really pushing.
I one time drove out there during a snow event, and I just needed to get off the road for a second. I stopped in one of those small towns in eastern Colorado where there's nothing, and I found a Sonic up the road. And I was like, I felt like I was so lucky just to find any. I was like, people, what?
Humanity?
What's going on out here, people? They put Hatch green chili on my burger. They asked me if I wanted Hatch green chili on my Sonic burger, and I said, "Yeah, absolutely." Yeah.
Well, the answer is yes.
Tremendous. Yeah,
Hatch green.
I
chili
didn't
burger.
realize we were in the American Southwest.
The green chili burger is the way to go anytime you can.
Very, very good. By the way, we got some responses to the last segment here at Happen Schaefer. I know it feels like a while ago, but Curtis writes in, he says, the gist of this article is clickbait. Congrats on Captain Obvious rehash of old stuff. I'm pretty sure Rule and Co. are living in the present and don't give a rat's you-know-what about another cliche article. Hashtag do not care. That's from Curtis. Andrew says if Rule has a man 26 and 27, if he wants to stay at Nebraska, he could try and restructure his contract and buy out. There is also that option too. Like that, like not everything is final.
Right.
Of course.
Right. Well, and that happens with a lot of the coaches that get fired. Like the buyouts end up getting restructured, you know, and whatever. Not with Scott Frost.
They buy it down.
But you know.
He's suing for more.
Yeah.
What a great guy that guy was.
Well,
it was fantastic.
He wants every penny that he never earned.
Peter writes in, the Kearney Archway, the real gateway to the West. There is something special about driving on 80 and the road just gets wider, and then you see that archway pop up. And
is there still a possibility we do a Happer and Schaefer from the arch?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We kind of kicked this around.
I've
never been in the arch. Never
either. That would be fun to do.
Wow. And the one member of the show has been in the Kearney Arch.
Yeah.
That's actually surprising given Joey's knack for traveling and Schaefer's
I've been to Kearney a million times.
Knack for being in a lot of different places.
No, I've never been in the arch.
Oh yeah, you got to get inside there. Get inside the arch. Curtis also follows up on the map situation. If you use Google Maps, Lincoln to Union, Nebraska is 41 miles due east, and Union to Omaha is 32.8 miles straight north. So more east than north.
Yeah, if you look at where the downtown centers are at, it's Lincoln is like on the west end of the actual city, and Omaha obviously is at the furthest east.
There you go. So
it makes sense.
If you incorrectly stated that it's Haymarket Park North, try Haymarket Park East. Dummies. Owned. You've been owned yet again.
I will say the pictures with the fireworks look really good.
Yeah, no, it was a good show. They was like 20 minutes long.
Man.
Shout out to Bellino getting the job done as always. Pedro writes in, hi guys, all these directions questions. I have one. From your bedroom window, in what direction does the sun rise? Well, my house faces west, but my windows face east in my bedroom. And so that's it. But I never see the sunrise from my bedroom because I am here by the time the sun rises.
Yeah, the bedroom window faces south.
Do you even have the window open at night?
No.
If you're facing east, I'm guessing you probably
keep it shut.
Yeah.
Because just, you don't want the sun blaring in the morning.
Meanwhile, mine faces north, so, you don't
have to worry about it.
I like it open.
Our window here at the 1620 The Zone Studios at 50th and Dodge faces west.
Which is why this gets taken off the wall every day at about 1:50.
I have an excellent sense of direction. I always know which way I am pointing.
It's easy in Omaha. It's easy in Omaha.
But like this goes for some reason, I just have the internal compass.
We should try this out sometime where we just drive you out to a field.
Yeah.
Blindfold you, walk you around a few paces.
I feel very good about my ability to do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like this.
I'm confident.
This would be fun.
Texter from the 402 writes in, exit 369 is Beaver Crossing. That's easy to remember.
Good old Beaver Crossing.
Where's Pleasantdale? Trivia. It's the one right after Lincoln. It's like
Right.
or it's like 380 some.
It's your first exit that isn't part of the Lincoln
390
area.
Right, we're going to the
because West
Wikipedia
Cornhusker
page.
is the first Lincoln exit, I think. If I have that correct.
I got it.
Pleasantdale exit 388.
I was 2 miles short.
Mm-mm-mm.
Good bar in Pleasantdale.
And then you keep going west and you go Milford, Gaynor, Beaver Crossing, York, Henderson, Hampton, Aurora, Giltner, Grand Island, Alda, Wood River.
You missed Seward.
That's all. Yeah, okay. I guess that's all like technically Seward in the Pleasantdale area. Anyway, we got to take a break. Good stuff. We always have to have a chance to learn interstate on this show. We will be back with the headlines right after this on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Headlines. Let's do it, Joey. What do we got?
All right. British sailor takes another shot at Atlantic Ocean tiny boat crossing.
I wonder how it worked out for him. I have some curiosities here.
Also, just want to know how tiny the boat is.
Okay. So, possibility there.
There's a possibility.
All right. Second one. Giant blue catfish landed in Florida River, set state record.
I do want to see the giant blue catfish, but I do feel like it's more of a visual thing for us, and we can go click on it later.
Is a giant blue catfish going to be bigger than the tiny boat? No, it couldn't be.
Probably.
Is a giant catfish bigger than a tiny boat? Is a great question. It's really philosophical when you think about it.
Really no way to know without clicking on both, but
I'm
only clicking on one, and we're clicking on the tiny boat.
100%. A British sailor on Tuesday is preparing to make a second try at crossing the Atlantic Ocean in the tiniest boat ever to do so. It only, it's a pretty tiny boat, 3 feet 10 inches.
We got a real possibility.
Tiny baby boat.
Andrew Bedwell, 52, of Scarisbrick, England, wrote in his log that he is anxiously awaiting his micro yacht Big Sea Atlantic Challenge to clear Canadian customs and then be shipped to Argentina, Newfoundland, where he will begin his record-breaking attempt. When the minuscule aluminum craft does arrive there, perhaps as soon as Friday, he will fly from Britain to Argentina to wrap up final preparations for a second try at breaking the Guinness World Record for smallest boat to complete a 1,900-mile Atlantic crossing. Bedwell's first attempt to do so in 2023 came to a premature end when his first boat, Big Sea, was accidentally dropped onto concrete and smashed into pieces. Wow, unfortunate. Now he tells Guinness Book of World Records
be a good omen.
He's redesigned the ship to be sturdier as he seeks to break the current record of crossing in a 5-foot 4-inch boat set by American Hugo Violin in 1993. Quote, "It's a complete new design and build. The last time it was GRP. This time we've gone to aluminum. I'm feeling fine about the vessel and the attempt. Just obviously hated what happened last time." Yes, last time when they dropped his boat on the concrete and it shattered into pieces. He says it'll take him 3 months to finish. Though tiny, the boat is equipped with the latest technology to keep him safe and connected, including solar panels to power his equipment and satellite communication for emergency situations. There's
a picture of it.
There is a picture of the small vessel. It looks like
it's tiny.
It's very small. It almost looks like a small submarine, but it doesn't go underwater.
But it's not going to go check out the Titanic like the submersible.
No, it will not. It does not have the strength to make it to the bottom of the ocean. The company that made him the boat says Bedwell's voyage will be nothing short of perilous. The Atlantic Ocean is notorious for its unpredictable weather patterns and rough seas, making it one of the most challenging environments for any sailor. So they're basically saying, it ain't on us, bro. There's no boat that is made to cross this ocean, especially not one that's 3 feet big.
How is he going to do this physically?
Just pee where you pee, man.
Well, not just that, but like you're basically stuck in this very small thing for he's planning potentially 3 months.
It's basically a Mr. Beast challenge. Can you stay in this room for 3 consecutive months?
I mean,
his answer is hopefully
but
yes.
This room is actually surrounded by water, and yeah, I don't know.
Tough ask.
Could never.
As well as trying to survive potentially harsh weather, Bedwell must also navigate through shipping lanes and battle sleep deprivation, all while being alone at sea for at least 60 days. He is also raising money on a GoFundMe page and says any funds over a cost will be given directly toward cancer research. Those wishing to follow Bedwell's journey could do so on his web tracking app. Oh, I'm going to click on that. That's for sure. So his journey will begin on Friday. Good luck to him. Hopefully he doesn't run into any big boats.
I'll pay attention to that. He's got a log. He's starting a log on his travels.
Tremendous. And that is the headline of the day. We will click off air to make sure we get a look at this giant blue catfish, and we'll see what's going on with that. But we'll come back. 8 o'clock hour up next on 1620 The Zone. If you're watching along with us on YouTube, you saw the Hus Bus graphic. Go ahead, Joey. Throw that thing back up. If you're watching along, you could see it. Now, by the way, thanks to Coach Huss for joining us on the broadcast last night. And we asked him about how he feels about this whole Hus Bus situation, and you'd be happy to know that he has indeed seen and is very keenly aware of the meme, which is the photo of the giant monster truck bus with his face mean mugging on the front of it like it's going to just run you over.
I was wondering if he's seen this one.
I don't think he's seen this one. And
I also wanted to know if he had seen this.
The thing that stands out about that one is that he has a smile on his face. And we thought that it really made it really brought the whole meme together that he didn't have a smile on his face in the original giant Hus Bus meme. He told the story about how one of his assistants at High Point got the Hus Bus tattoo. He got the Hus Bus tattooed on his leg. And once he found out about the Hus Bus being tattooed on his leg, one of his assistant's legs, he also knew right around that same time that he was going to end up not being the head coach at High Point anymore because he was going to come back to Creighton and be an assistant. That was after he got him to the NCAA tournament, 2 years ago. And he didn't have eventually, obviously, he found out that he was leaving, and he didn't, there was no preventative measures to erase the tattoo or anything like that. It's still a great moment in time, and they're very proud of their accomplishments at High Point when the Hus Bus was rolling. And now it's the what did he say last night? The Clay, because Flynn Clayman is their coach now. There was another cool, snappy sort of word for it.
Oh, they've got something else.
It's not the Hus Bus anymore. Obviously, it's the Clay Bay or something like that.
The Clay Bay?
Yeah, it's not that. That's why I'm not.
Make some things out of hay. We just may.
Yeah, it's not that, but it's something like that. So thanks to Coach Huss for joining last night. And by the way, I did get a message about the. I saw the tattoo. You'll see it at some point. It'll be out there. It's very, very funny. It's very funny. By the way,
would you commit to getting a Hus Bus tattoo like the one that Joey has of that bus?
No.
If Creighton won the national championship, no committing to it.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. Just something to commit to. Give you an extra reason.
I have so many things to commit to in my daily life. Think about all the bits that I could do. Think about all the takes that I have that I commit to fully and completely every day.
That has to be somewhat exhausting.
Why would I just freely offer up the potential of me getting a crazy tattoo on my leg?
People want it. They want you to have a tattoo of yourself on your leg.
They don't want
it's not the equivalent of having a premature champion tattoo on your shoulder.
Whoa. Nick Wright?
Do not want that.
Yeah, don't be Nick Wright.
Do not want that.
Don't.
By the way, I was happy. Speaking of the Nebraska baseball, Schadenfreude, I only got like 4 tweets last night calling me a B word. So I thought it was a pretty clean night. We did a really nice job. And
calling you a baseball boy?
I didn't say anything at all. I was going to send out a sarcastic tweet that would have stoked the fire after the game. And I was like, you know what? I want a quiet night. And
what was your tweet going to be?
It was going to be a picture of the AI imposed somebody made an AI thing where it was all the stadium was full, but it was full of blue.
Oh, I think that was O-Trip. That was O-Trip.
So somebody said that to me last night, and I was going to send that picture out and say, "Great win tonight! Great win tonight! Great crowd! Go Jays!" Blue State or something like that, just completely inaccurate, and just see what happened. Maybe shut down the replies or something. But I wanted a quiet night, and I generally got it, except for like 4 people.
Have you ever shut replies off of a tweet?
No.
I haven't either. I can't imagine a scenario where I would.
Got the photo right there. If you're watching on the video stream. The funniest thing is on the very bottom, you could see a red hat in there.
That's all right. The one red guy made it into the state. Look at that. Could you imagine?
You had to pay so much for that ticket.
It's like the 91 College World Series all over again. Look at that. That is a beautiful, beautiful sight. So I did not do that, and therefore it stayed generally quiet last night for me.
You think Nick Grimm caught wind of it?
Just a couple threats, a couple, people.
Threats? People were threatening you?
But they're always threatening.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a couple people wanted me to pass some messages along to John Bishop because they can't get in contact with him anymore because they blocked him.
He blocked
them, of course.
Have things quieted down for John Bishop?
I think so. That's good. Yeah. It all.
I mean, unless they start talking about Nebraska football, then people will go after him.
Nah, people forgot about that already, I think.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They are doing their positivity week, so
that'll fix everything.
Generally speaking, yes.
Unless Trey Taylor goes and commits to a different program,
OH,
then they'll probably not forget about that.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
I don't think so either.
So they're probably
definitely not in the near future. But if it happens later, will people remember? Probably. They'll still blame.
And they'll equate it falsely, but that's what we do.
They will remember the time where John Bishop literally said nothing in a 3-minute clip that was aggregated on Twitter. They will remember that time very, very fondly. John writes in, he says, Matt has said that he wants to get a tattoo. Make him commit to the Husk Bus tattoo. There you go. Matt's very vulnerable.
Does Matt already have a tattoo?
I don't think so.
Oh, for some reason he's been talking about a tattoo for a while.
Matt can be, I always say that I can be peer pressured into a lot of different things, which it's definitely true. I think Matt is more vulnerable to that at this moment in his life. So I think if you were like, hey, Matt, I got a deal for you. Totally not going to happen, but in the off chance it does, would you get a Husk Bus tattoo if Creighton wins the national championship? He might agree to that.
He might. I could also see because if it came from you, he would be leery of it.
He would be. It has to come from you.
Yeah. Yep, that's probably true.
It definitely has to come from you. There's no doubt about it. All right. 8 o'clock hour of Happer and Schaefer. The writers will be joining us as we go on throughout the show today. One of the writers, Sam McEwen, and I guess another TV personality, Lauren Michelson, will join us in the 9 o'clock hour. As we continue on, a football topic, a football discussion. Big Ten overreactions, post-spring overreactions to Nebraska football. Here is Nebraska's overreaction, according to CBS Sports' Cody Nagel, who is a Nebraskan, I believe.
Yeah, he is.
It says Nebraska will be better off without Dylan Raiola. His departure stung after being heralded as the face of the program's rebuild under Matt Rule, but the revisionist take building in Lincoln that it became too much about him. Raiola led the Huskers to consecutive winning seasons, but never quite lived up to the hype. That split felt mutual, even though he left without so much as a thank you. Enter Anthony Calandria, a quarterback who can extend plays with his legs and stress defenses off schedule, which is exactly Dana Holgorsen is what he's always needed to be the play caller he wants to be. So everything after like the first 3 sentences, I disagree with, or I could just have left out. And I think not that I necessarily disagree with it, but you could have just left it out and the same thing would have stood for the entire deal. So I am absolutely willing to listen to and almost probably subscribe to Nebraska will be better off without Dylan Raiola. I do believe that there is a fair amount, if we're doing the blame pie chart for 2025, I believe that there is a chunk of that belongs to Dylan Raiola. And I am curious to see what comes of them not having Dylan Raiola as their quarterback. I'm not convinced that Anthony Calandria is going to be, the answer that unlocks the key, that unlocks this new door to Dana Holgorsen's offense. But I am excited to see it without Dylan Raiola. Okay, so there's that piece of it. What is our obsession with the whole saying goodbye thing? Dear God, what's going on? Why did this come up in this?
I have no idea.
Who in the absolute hell cares?
Not me.
Not
you,
me. Not
probably not Joey.
Joey, do you care?
No, I do not.
Would you like to, if Dylan Raiola just today on May 13th was like, oh yeah, by the way, sorry, I had this in the drafts. I forgot to post it. Here's my goodbye to Nebraska. Would you feel a lot better?
No,
that'd be the dumbest thing
When
ever.
Jalen
I would
Brown
feel the same.
signs somewhere else, will you need him to make a goodbye post to the Boston Celtics?
I mean, it's up to him, and I don't really care. If he's leaving, it's probably going to be a trade. He's committed to.
But maybe would you like him to say goodbye?
Oh yeah, I would.
Okay,
but
then maybe you agree with this.
But if he doesn't do it right away, then I don't really care.
Jalen
because
Brown's
it's
maybe
long-
a little bit more accomplished than what Dylan Raiola was.
Yeah,
That's true. He was a little bit more of a heart and soul guy.
yeah.
So that's probably an unfair.
Dylan Raiola
Comparison.
won a bowl game with Nebraska. That was the biggest accomplishment in his era.
Look, no one else has won a bowl game as Nebraska's quarterback since
Yeah, right.
2014. So there's 2013?
2015. Because they beat UCLA in the Foster Farms Bowl
Forgot about that one.
in the 6 and 7 season.
Tommy Armstrong for both of those.
Tommy.
Yeah, so you said something that then made me, I don't think we've discussed this. I don't know that I've really thought about this.
Dylan Raiola responsible for a blame pie chart.
No.
Oh, okay. You don't care about.
I don't really care about Dylan Raiola. Like, I'm happy to move off of that entirely. Whenever
Me too,
we
which
get
is
the
why
opportunity.
I agree with this take.
Right.
Yes.
Is this the best roster that Nebraska's had under Matt Rule going into a season? And if not, because I'm having I don't think that it is. But the problem is then I have to pick one of the other three. And the hard part about this exercise is that all of those other three sort of failed. And you know where the shortcomings were with all of them. You think you know where the shortcomings might be with this one, but it hasn't failed yet. So now I'm like, in a weird way, and you can't say 23 because I didn't really have a quarterback.
Yeah, 23, just throw 23 out.
It's probably 24, but I don't.
No, I think it's
super
this.
committed
I think
yet.
it's this upcoming year.
Yeah, so
This is his best roster, I think.
that probably hasn't come up enough, right? Like have we discussed this?
No, because everybody's all afraid of the schedule. The schedule fearmongers will never relent.
The schedule boogeyman has been real.
The
for
schedule,
sure.
the schedule fearmongers will never relent. And they will never allow you to have a real thought about this season, and in the common way that we
We
discuss
don't
it.
have to listen to the schedule fearmonger.
I agree. Let's
no-
ignore the schedule fearmonger.
Joey, the most schedule-oriented person ever, he's not a schedule fearmonger.
That brought me an idea for a potential graphic for the
sorry.
show.
Get to
Go back
work.
to your cocoon of creativity over there. We'll push Joey out of the
Yeah,
conversation.
I think this
Neither
is
you or I are schedule fearmongers. I find it dumb that we spend as much time on it as we do.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's what happened all last year. It's like, well, their toughest game is Penn State. Their toughest game is Penn State. Their toughest game is Penn State. Well,
Penn State sucked.
Penn State, the version that Nebraska got in November had kind of figured out what they wanted to be, so it's tougher than what other people maybe played in early October.
Well, I mean, Nebraska played like
but
garbage.
Nebraska also stunk
Yeah.
in late November.
Yeah.
So whatever. Point being, the season play out the way that they do. 2024, the Indiana was never supposed to be one of the two hardest games on your schedule, and it turns out to be the game where you absolutely got demolished.
Mhm.
So I just, part of the schedule thing is it's dumb because we just go off of what has happened in the past,
Correct.
and we have no idea what's going to happen in the future.
That's right.
So I guess
The schedule fearmongers will not allow us to have an actual conversation about the season and actually talk about it in a normal way.
so
Because
if we refuse to allow them to do that, and you think that this is the best roster of the Matt Rule
I'm
era,
not confident in that. I have to think about it some more, but that is my
you're at
first
least
blush.
allowing for the ability that this is the best roster.
That would be my
Yeah.
first blush answer. Yes, that this is the best one.
Would
he's
that be
had.
considered progress then? Because often we're looking for reasons to claim that the team is better than it has been. And people have been resistant to say that they're markedly better than they were. What is
Let me ask you this: if they had Raiola back for his third year,
and everything else is the same,
would it be a slam dunk that this is the best roster?
I think there'd be a lot more argument for upside because of what Raiola could be.
Mm-hmm.
I also think with the offensive line being better with Raiola, you would feel better in that scenario.
Yeah, we'd definitely be convincing ourselves of the ceiling.
I mean, I would be spending way too much time talking about the wide receiver core and the passing game, and then it wouldn't come to fruition for the third year in a row, which I'm willing to do even without Dylan Raiola, mostly because it's just a disease that I have. I think that's what I've kind of concluded.
See, I think a lot of that is Dylan. I think a lot of that was Dylan.
It could be.
Yeah.
And, if Colandrea goes out and he's able to throw the ball around the yard and they have explosion on offense.
See, I think it's pretty a slam dunk that they're going to get the explosion. I just think they're going to turn the ball over too much.
Yeah.
Like that, and it'll be too volatile.
I think they're going to have unscheduled explosion. I'm still not convinced that Dana Holgorsen can schedule explosion. Like create plays where they get mismatches and they win downfield, or, they turn the drag route into a 30-yard gain instead of a 3-yard gain or whatever else. Like, I'm not entirely convinced that that's going to happen. But is there going to be plays where, Colandrea, you get yakety sacks going on in the background as he's avoiding a sack and somebody frees open downfield? Absolutely. Like, I think that's a better possibility, because he's going to keep his eyes downfield more and can extend things more than what Dylan was going to do.
So D'Lo writes in, he says, okay, so best roster and schedule is being overblown. Sound like you guys expect 9 wins. Happy face. Okay, thank God. It was D'Lo really does a good job of understanding how to sort of get a reaction out of me. Nice job. But 2 separate things we're talking about, right? We're talking about how they have I'm not convinced of this, like I said, but first blush, I think this has a chance to probably be the best roster that he's had. I have to think about it a little bit more and maybe we'll look into it over the next couple of days. And then also, people won't allow you to really even go that far, because they'll say, all right, well, you have the best roster. What does it mean? Your schedule is a disaster. And you're like, okay, let's just not take this conversation any further. There you go. They're destined to be 6-6.
Right.
This year, whatever it is. We're talking about 2 different things. You could have the best roster that he's had here and talk about it, and then say, yeah, the schedule is difficult. The schedule is difficult. Of course it is. Like, it is.
You play in a tough conference. Like, the schedule's always going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Like, it's very rarely are you just going to have this runway of like, oh, you play nobody. Like, that just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. And frankly, they should be expected to win more frequently against these teams than they have.
The whole conversation right there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they're going to be a 9-win team, but I use the Washington game as this marker. I don't think there should be a world where the Washington game is viewed as unwinnable for Nebraska at home against a team that I think is a fringe top 25 team in Washington. But people regard that as like a borderline unwinnable. Illinois has entered the category as like, oh, it'll be a surprise if Nebraska beats Illinois. Really? Like, they should have beat them in 24. And that was Illinois' best team in the last however long.
I think we do that because they've had a lot of these kind of 50-50 swing games.
And they don't win them.
Haven't won them, right?
Right.
And it rarely works out that way anyway. Here's John. I want to dive into this for a second before we get to Sam. He says, I think Schaefer likes Holgorsen about as much as I like Rule. Schaefer, you are very pessimistic about Dana Holgorsen.
I feel like it just sort of gets cast off to the side. Like, Dylan gets dumped on for everything that's ever happened. And yet Nebraska brought in a guy that's a veteran offensive coordinator, and their offense averaged 22 points a game against Power 4 opponents. Like, he had no explosion, no creativity. You'd see it in any game that you played. Nebraska had the most bland, boring college offense imaginable. Now, was that Dylan? I have no idea. You had an All-American running back, and you still had a boring offense. You had a backup quarterback come in. He's a freshman, and he's hurt, and you can't really do anything with it, I guess. But it's just like, that offense wasn't good. And I don't know if it's just Dylan Raiola. I think a lot of people want to believe that Dylan held things back more than anything else that they had there. I don't know if Dana Holgorsen in 2026 is a good offensive coordinator in college football.
See, I would phrase it more this way. The curiosity I would have about Holgorsen is if he is the right fit to be the offensive coordinator for a Matt Rule team.
Sure. And I mean, if he's not, then I don't know that there's a right fit for Matt Rule that isn't just like
exactly that just placeholder. That's what Satterfield was.
Just churn through offensive coordinators forever at that point.
Yep. He's a defensive minded head coach. Last year's defense was a disaster. The offense obviously wasn't good enough, but I don't know that it was ever designed to be this exciting, high flying.
It was,
type of thing.
You don't spend as much of they spent so much of their resources last year on offense to average 22 points a game. It was a disaster.
Oh, I know. It sucked.
So I think that gets buried a little bit. Like, you set out to be an offensive oriented team and couldn't do it. Whether it was your offense couldn't finish on the field, which
but it's not like they're like, it's not they were trying to get up and down and go tempo and score 50,
Well, I mean, then that becomes a style of like, why did you go spend all of this money on wide receivers? You spend all of this money on a quarterback. You spent money on your offensive line. And then that's the offense that you're choosing to put together. So why are you doing this?
Lack of identity. They didn't know what. They didn't know.
And I think that comes back to an offensive coordinator who didn't have a clue as to what he wanted to run in this conference.
I think it comes back to the head coach who didn't know what to.
But I mean, the head coach didn't have a problem identifying Dana Holgorsen as part of the issue in the Minnesota game when his offensive strategy was to ignore Emmett Johnson.
We have seen coaches come in and part of the reason that they can't establish an identity is, lack of ability, whatever it is, and actual execution of it. But also, I think there is the guys sometimes that the coaches feel like they can be everything. We could be this on defense. We could be this on offense. We could mix it together. And then all of a sudden, look at that. I mean, why can't we just do that? Why can't we be the first program ever to be awesome at everything? That's what the coaches think. I don't know what about Nebraska lures them into that. Maybe it's the facilities and the NIL and whatever, but they're just like, I'm going to forget about my previous identity, whether it's Frost being an offensive coach or Rule being a defensive coach. I think we could do that plus the other thing, when no one in history with the program who is recruiting at the level at Nebraska has done it. You have to pick one.
Yeah.
You kind of do. And it's not that you have to be bad at offense and good at defense if that's what you're going to be, or bad at defense and good at offense. That's not what I'm saying. You can, but you have to make it match.
Well, they didn't make it offense for 2025 and they failed.
In part because their defense was terrible.
Well, it wasn't terrible until the end of the year, and
It's terrible. It's terrible.
And their defense was partially terrible because at the end of the year, their offense couldn't stay on the field at all.
Yeah,
the offense saved the defense in a lot of ways early in the year with their long drives.
It collapsed on itself a bit.
Right,
yeah.
And then the tent pole comes out and the whole tent comes down.
I want to see what Sam thinks about this idea. So we will take a break here. I want to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620. We have Aaron writes in, by the way, is it Dana or Rule? It's a good question. So let's bounce it off Sam McEwen coming up next on 1620 The Zone. Green for the Green 5K sweepstakes is powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. You could improve your golf game, get better equipment, get a membership, or even repair the damages due to your bad swing. Contest runs through May 19th. That is the Green for Green 5K sweepstakes powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. Enter online right now at 1620thezone.com. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. All right. So we stumbled upon a variety of different topics that we feel like you would be the perfect person to bounce off of in the last segment. So
great.
Question number one. This sort of is the thing that started the branching of out of topics. Is the 2026 roster Matt Rule's best roster at Nebraska?
It is. Yeah, I think it's the best roster he's had. For sure. I think they've got depth at certain spots. I think the quarterback position is the strongest it's been, and you cannot discount that. I think the offensive line will be the best offensive line they've had. So I think the offense is the best he's had, and I think defensively they've got parts and pieces. Now they got to figure out how to put them all together and what the best 11 are on the field. But yes, I think it's the strongest roster he's had in his 4 seasons.
Is the quarterback answer for you partially just because of how much depth they have there? Like if anything were to happen to Calandria, you've got a guy in Latif who, got a chance to grow last year as a freshman and conceivably would come at things a little bit differently as a sophomore than he did last year.
Yes, absolutely. I think that has something to do with the depth there. Latif's going to be a way more developed player than he was trotting onto the field against USC or even UCLA. And then I think Daniel Kalen has a chance to push Latif legitimately. I think Daniel Kalen can go win you a football game. He may not win you the Oregon game, but I think he could beat Michigan State or Maryland. So the depth at that position is certainly leaps and bounds ahead of where they were in year one when they thought they had depth, but it turned out they didn't have any depth at all because guys got hurt all the time and we weren't very good.
Somewhat amazingly, the assistant coach that I feel like we never talk about almost ever is Glenn Thomas. And he coaches a position that we can't not talk about. And so I am kind of wondering, like, you've spent a lot of time watching Calandria, his time at UNLV, or if you come back and looked at the Virginia stuff. Is there an area that you think Glenn Thomas specifically could help him as he adjusts to Nebraska and the Big Ten?
I think Thomas probably has some pretty good insight at this point after 2 seasons in the Big Ten of what Calandria is going to have to stay away from. And some of the things that are maybe true of the defenses in this league that might not have been true in the ACC or the Mountain West. So he'll have to walk him through some of those conversations. I think Calandria has pocket presence and understands how to get away from guys. And I think in some ways, even though the edge rushers in this league are better than what he's faced, edge rushers are edge rushers. And so he'll know how to get out of that stuff. But I think manipulating the pocket, understanding where to go with the ball, trying to figure out Big Ten defenses. So Big Ten defenses are going to play a lot of quarters style defense. There are some variations, but I think Calandria would tell you that things were pretty exotic in the Mountain West. Like they were seeing, Orange would tell you that. They saw a lot of different stuff out there. And so this would be a little bit, I think you're going to see a lot more of the same kinds of defenses in the Big Ten. They're just stronger and taller and tougher.
Sam, this is another one we sort of stumbled on. What is it about Nebraska, or is it a Nebraska-centric thing that has led the last couple coaches to sort of veering away from their assumed football identities, over their first couple seasons? I think it, happened a little bit with Frost, and the genesis of, I think, both of them, in Rule and Frost, their idea was like, hey, we could be good at what we're normally good at, and we could do the other thing really well too. And then you saw last year, it kind of collapsed on itself a little bit, and obviously it did so for Frost. I don't know if you would go along with that. What the identity is such an important part of this. We talk about it almost daily, and yet they have not, either of the last two coaches haven't really found a way to establish one.
Yeah. They're two different situations, I would say. The first situation with Frost, he came here with an identity. They tried it. They definitely tried it in 2018 and 2019. And in 2018, what happened. They got better, I thought, as the season went on, and I think they found what they wanted to be. And then the 2019 team was not well coached, and it wasn't well managed. And that's on Frost. And I think if you really drilled down, he would own that. I think he would own that some of the things that happened after that were out of his control, including COVID and some of the other things. But the 2019 team was not a 5-7 football team. That was a 7-5, 8-4 team that he mismanaged and miscoached. And end of story. Like you get up 17-0 at Colorado, you have no business losing that football game, and that's on him. And I think he probably, if you really drilled it down, he would say it much. And then after that, they tried to become a larger team and an off the bus kind of team.
Yep.
And they just didn't have enough to get the things done that they wanted to get done. And then in 2022, that was a mess. I mean, he hired a coordinator that I don't think was a fit for him at all. I don't think he hired that coordinator under the pressure of the AD. I don't think the AD wanted Mark Whipple. So that was Frost's call. So there was a lot of self-inflicted wounds there. With Matt Rule, I felt like they had a really clear identity in year one.
Me too.
Their offense was bad, but they had an identity. And then I think they tried to. I think Dylan Raiola's commitment changed what they wanted to become, and instead of becoming that body blows program that whose identity was built, in the 5 or 6 feet that comprised the line of scrimmage, they started to think, well, now we got a quarterback, we better go get receivers, we better throw the football, we better be pro style, hardcore. Let's have a lot of formations. Let's get a coordinator. Like all the things that piled on it. And I feel like they lost their way a little bit. And ironically, they lost it on defense probably more than offense, because I think they moved away from a defensive centric culture toward Dylan and the Jets. So, I think that's what's probably flipped back. Calandria is certainly he's got some swag to him too, but I think he is going to fit way more into the culture that Rule wants to build, which is built on development and toughness and all these other things. So I feel like the Rule's era kind of lost its identity a little bit. Frost, if he could redo the 2019 season and get Maurice Washington off the team and redo that whole thing and not have just let him go and not have him on the team after what happened that year, and just reorient and make sure Adrian Martinez didn't gain 20. I mean, again, it was a mismanaged team, and Frost has to be responsible for that. If he had managed that team better, that would have been a much better team. It just would have been an 8-4 team, and Frost may well still be here because that team had talent and they should have won more games.
Before I ask this, I will acknowledge that this is a very dumb hypothetical, but at the same time, it's May, so
That's
here
right.
we go. Would Nebraska be in a better spot right now if they had just ended up with Kyle McCord after the 2023 season and not ended up with Dylan Raiola? So you'd have Kyle McCord for 2024. I don't know what 2025 would be exactly, but do you think that as a program, because I think they would have kept their trajectory or their identity a little bit more in line under Kyle McCord than sort of what they tried to do after getting Dylan Raiola at the end of the 2024 cycle?
Yeah, I do. I think that they should have taken both of them, and I think they could have. In hindsight being 2020, but it isn't hindsight.
You think the Raiolas would have allowed that? Just straight up?
Yes. Whether they'd allowed it or not, I don't really know. But the reality is that what they should have understood, and what everybody now understands, or they should understand, true freshmen should not play, should not start as quarterback. It does not go well. It didn't go well for Dante Moore at UCLA. Jaden Daniels is probably the best example we have of a quarterback who did pretty well as a true freshman, but even he transferred. And I think they were 8-4, 7-5. I can't remember what he was under Herm Edwards. But Daniels is a more talented player than Dylan Raiola. Let's be clear. And he wasn't great. But DJ Lagway didn't work in Florida. It doesn't work. And so, like, I think the story you've got to be able to present to the family is, guys, that this is not what you want your son coming into when he's 18 years old. Let him sit for a year and watch this guy over here do it, who's done it for 4 years, and then your son will be our quarterback. But there is no way that the best thing for him is to come in and do this right away. There's no evidence that's the best path forward for any of these guys. There just isn't. Like Justin Herbert, I guess, is maybe the best one. And guess what? Herbert didn't start until halfway through his true freshman season, because people remember Dakota Prukop started when Oregon played at Nebraska in 2016. And so there's just no evidence of it. And so what they needed to have been able to do is just say, hey, you know what? If you're going to come here, you're going to sit, not because that's what we want, but because that's what's best for you. Now, the question you asked was assuming that Dylan would have just stayed committed to Georgia, where, by the way, he would have sat. He would not have played.
The whole reason he came to Nebraska is that he was going to play there. That's it.
I think that's probably accurate. But again, I think that was because I think they will say now that Dylan's sit-down year at Oregon, where, by the way, if the 5-for-5 passes, he can play in every game. He just doesn't have the pressure of being the starter. His sit-down year will be the very best thing for him, because he needs to learn what it means to be a quarterback to be the leader, but be the leader from sort of behind, so to speak. The guy that is behind the offensive line and behind the backs and behind the receivers. And he didn't learn that, I don't know, that well at Nebraska, because he was sort of the headline. Anyway, the original question you asked is would Nebraska be in a better place? It would. I think so. I think McCord would have come in and been a 7-5 or 8-4 kind of quarterback. And then they would have gone out and gotten another portal quarterback, and away they go. Ideally, they would have had McCord come in, and they would have told Dylan, listen, you can come, but you're sitting. By the way, you'd be sitting at Georgia too. So what do you want to do? You'd be sitting at either spot. You'd be sitting at Ohio State. They weren't going to win a national championship with Dylan Raiola in 2024. So he'd have been sitting no matter where he went. And if he was amenable to that, the best case scenario would have been to have McCord play in 24 and then redshirt freshman Dylan Raiola, having played 4 games in 2024, would have taken the team over in 25. And I think it would have been a way better experience for him, because he would have had a year where he could have watched somebody else do it. And then he would have had this group of guys that he was a part of, versus and Dana Holgorsen referenced this when he came in. Dylan was required to try to lead a 24-year-old guy in Jamal Banks. Well, that's very hard to do when you're a true freshman quarterback. And so Dylan's immediately thrust into this role of like, well, you're going to sit down with Jamal Banks and recruit him here, and you're going to be helping us recruit this 5-star tackle that's coming out of high school. And I think that was, in my opinion, was too much for him. And it wasn't his fault. Like, I think he actually played a pretty good soldier, and he was willing to do it. And I don't know that he knew what he was doing per se, but he was willing to do it. And I just think it accelerated his process. Now he's going to go to Oregon, and I've read the reports that he was up and down and he needs to cut weight. And guess what? If he wants to make it in this game, he's going to have to do what Oregon tells him to do, because Oregon doesn't have to play him. And I wish that Nebraska had known the same thing. Right. We don't have to play you. We'll be good enough without you if you decide that you don't want to come here because we want to do what Georgia would do, which is sit you. And so, hindsight being 2020, I think they would have been better off, but ideally they would have taken them both, and Dylan would have taken the role over last year.
All right, Sam, we'll have plenty more hypotheticals for you throughout the rest of the summer. Get used to it.
All right. Take care, guys.
That's Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. Fast forward to now, that we could finish out the last of the hour with this. Fast forward to right now, here you are you're trying to get back to your identity. What is it, right? Are you going back to defense? You have Dana Holgorsen in place. You have a quarterback who's a what? I have no idea. Are they in position to get back to their identity? So we can talk about that when we come back on 1620 The Zone. How about our boy Sam McEwen? He hangs up the phone with us very quickly, by the way, as he does. And then he drops some heat on Omaha.com. Nebraska's new deal with Matt Rule includes $5 million payment for IP rights, LLC agreement. All right, let's all read this for the first time. I would encourage people to check this out at Omaha.com. So we've talked about the contract today, right? As part of his new deal with Nebraska Athletics, Nebraska football coach Matt Rule agreed to sell his intellectual property rights to the school, which will pay his annual salary to two sources. The first contract on NU's transparency website is a standard coaching agreement that includes most of the annual compensation laid out in the term sheet from October 30th, 2025, when he signed that extension that goes through the 2032 season. The second contract is between the school and Rules LLC, which is called MRJR Ventures, licensed out of Delaware in 2018. I never heard of this. Have you?
Mm-mm.
Signed about 6 weeks ago. The deal pays roughly 19% of the 2026 salary on Rule's term sheet and 25% annually after that. When he makes $10 million in 2027, $7.5 million will go to Rule and $2.5 million will go to the LLC. NU's deal with MRJR Ventures, obtained by the World Herald via public records request, lays out duties performed for the payouts that include attending fundraisers, giving promotional speeches, podcasts, and appearing on programs such as Pat McAfee's show. So basically, from a money perspective, if you want to look at it this way, you could. I don't know that it's appropriate, but here it is. He is 3/4 a football coach and 1/4 a promoter.
Yeah, it's like a creative way to pay him for the stuff that comes along with being a football coach, but you're not paying him any extra. You're just paying a portion of that salary towards his LLC, basically.
Apparently, this is common at other schools. Sam's example was LSU coach Ed Orgeron had the majority of his contract paid through his LLC called the Rosie Finch Boys with a Z. What the hell? What might be new in the industry is through the LLC deal, Nebraska paid MRJR Ventures, the LLC, $5 million this spring to purchase Rule's IP rights for the duration of his time at Nebraska. So Nebraska now owns the House Rules podcast. This is kind of this is weird. I don't really know what to think of this. Let's see.
They can market, distribute, and monetize that podcast.
Yeah,
basically.
Right. Not just the podcast, but everything he does.
Yeah. I mean, it's commonly done in things like wrestling or whatever.
Well,
yeah.
This is college football.
Yeah, well, I guess we're reviewing these more as separate entities now.
So then there is the buyout portion. He's still at 90% of the base salary left on his contract should Nebraska dismiss him, with 75% paid to Rule through the standard contract and 25% to the LLC if he were to be fired after this year. Likewise, Rule would owe Nebraska if he leaves for another job, similarly split between that and the LLC. And yeah, I guess it's kind of semantics, I suppose, but it is interesting, I suppose, especially considering we were talking about the contract.
Yeah, I mean, I basically view it as they have the ability to distribute and do things with the rights of his podcast and everything else. What that is, how you can monetize it, I have no idea.
John writes in, 3/4 of a football coach. Now it's starting to make sense. Theo writes in, cringe HC. Sith Destroyer says, I hate everything you just said. Prison Matt says, what kind of blackmail does Rule have on yogurt?
I mean, it doesn't really change anything.
It doesn't. It's
creative accounting. It just seems weird, and it's weird.
Okay, yeah. Let's all agree that it's weird.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
But it doesn't make a difference one way or the other. You could get paid however you want to get paid.
Right.
if I wanted to get paid my salary in bananas, I'm sure that they would do it here at Usher Media, but I'm not sure.
Let's look into that.
Let's look into it. We'll take a break. 9 o'clock hour coming up next on 1620 The Zone. The Peak Playoffs giveaway is live at 1620thezone.com. Playoff season in a couple of our major sports. You can watch all the big games in style with a $250 Twin Peaks gift card if you just register online at 1620thezone.com. Also, Unsportsmanlike Conduct will be live at Twin Peaks this Friday. That's in 2 days at 179th and Dodge from 2 to 6 p.m. That's when that show goes. And so join them out there. Maybe I'll have to stop by. It's right in our neck of the woods, Schaefer.
I'm thinking about it.
I was also thinking about this. I don't really have anything super planned.
Should we all
Friday
just meet up at a particular time, potentially one beer Friday to celebrate?
Do you think we should storm into Twin Peaks
at exactly 5:00
and take over their castle, like Happer and Schaefer versus, Theo always comments on the show and he's like, I love radio rivalries. We can manufacture a beef with the afternoon show and, just absolutely storm in and just grab the microphones and start doing takes.
Do we show up with the crown credential and make sure that it's somewhere in the scene?
Yeah.
Open up the window and just glare it at Josh Peterson the entire time.
That.
Good idea.
We set up some way to make sure there's sun glare in his eyes.
It's called marking your territory. I will say that they are a little bit ahead of us, considering they've been on the air for like 100 years, and the show's been on the air for like 5 months. But
probably closing in on the longest that we've gone for a daily morning show.
Yeah, what was our previous runtime? August to January?
It was like mid-August to
end of December.
End of December. Yeah, last day of December.
Yeah, I think we're running up right against it right now. Joey, what are we on show-wise?
We are show number 88.
Wow.
I keep track.
Is Michael Irvin 88? Who's 88?
How do you keep track? What is the process of it?
We haven't had like a vacation day through the time we've been around. So
famously, this show does not have the vacation day opportunities that other shows on this network does.
The next one's gonna be Memorial Day.
Yeah. So we just get unlucky with how the schedule breaks.
Well, there's just never
for two times during the year in particular, the NCAA tournament and the College World Series.
Right, but also just like there won't ever be sports that would preempt us from being on the air in the way that midday or the evening would exist.
Exactly. Yeah. It only happened. It doesn't happen much other than those two times.
Let it be known, this is not a complaint. We are just going to be very consistently on the air from 6 to 10 all the time.
We are on the air. And I've always said the thing about being on the air is that you need to be on air instead of breathing air. That's what I always say.
It's a very important distinction.
Anyway, so there you go. Check them out on Friday. Maybe we'll be there marking our territory. Texter writes in from the 402, 88, like Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, there you go. There's an 88.
He's been a lot of different numbers, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm not a racing person. I can't really speak.
That's a John Bishop question.
I don't even. Is he even racing anymore?
Dale? Yeah. Oh, he's got a podcast now, doesn't he? He probably started an LLC. Did Dale Jr. start an LLC?
There's no way he doesn't have an LLC.
Absolutely.
Particularly in his business.
Oh, I should have known this. The Celtics' Neemias Queta wears number 88. I did not even know about that. Man got owned by Joel Embiid for the entire first round.
I don't even know who this individual
just goes off into his own world.
CeeDee Lamb, Des Bryant, Michael Irvin, all wearing number 88.
I was thinking Irvin for sure. I didn't think about Lamb or Des Bryant.
Oh, who else?
Any other famous 88s?
Nicholas Batum. Do you guys know who he is?
I do know Nicholas Batum.
Yeah.
Goga Bitadze from the Pacers.
No,
I don't know about that.
Now he's on the Magic. Nemanja Bjelica.
No.
Who's on the Kings?
Oh, yeah. I'm Bjelica. Yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah.
Marquise
He was in the
Morris.
Timberwolves for a second.
So 88's an NBA number now.
88 is an NBA number
I guess
for sure.
Demarius Thomas.
Number.
Demarius Thomas. Marvin Harrison also wore number 88 in the
Eric
NFL.
Lindros.
Oh, that's
what
notable 88.
There you go. There's a guy. I bet you don't know that guy. Joey, what you know about that?
What was the name again?
Eric Lindros.
I don't remember the name.
Exactly.
He's maybe the most famous person for concussions before concussions became a really big thing.
Ugh.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
It's either him or Troy Aikman, probably.
Yes.
Those are the
that's
two
probably
people.
The first guy.
Like if you go back to when I first learned about concussions,
who is
those are
now
people.
the poster child of concussions?
Tua.
It's Tua, right?
It's Tua.
Yeah, it's Tua.
What a terrible thing to be the poster child of.
Wasn't
Each generation has a poster child of concussions.
When I think of football concussions for Nebraska, I think of Blake Lawrence because he ended his career over it.
Yep.
And he's talked about it a lot and has been involved in it.
was Antonio Brown also a concussion poster?
See, I don't think you think concussions. I think you think CTE there.
Yeah,
There's weirdly a difference.
Very big difference.
I don't know what it is in particular, but yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Okay.
No, concussions, like
I don't want to minimize it or maximize it.
Yeah.
I just don't think of concussions with Antonio Brown. I think of what happens as
like
a result.
concussions is Luke Kuechly.
Okay,
right?
yeah, that's a good one.
Concussions is Luke Kuechly. CTE is it?
Yes.
There you go.
That's very good.
Thank you.
Well done.
I was just thinking one led to another.
It
Well, you're
probably
not wrong.
It probably does. Yeah, science here.
But
would
it's a
tell
weird
you, right.
distinction that feels necessary for no reason whatsoever.
Text from the 402, 88 miles an hour. Back to the future.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Man,
Char-
Eric Lindros. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Charles-
The Flyers are winning in the NHL too, right? Like they're-
No, they got
Apparently-
swept.
oh, they got swept.
They got swept by Carolina.
Oh, well, you ran into Carolina. Carolina's pretty good.
That's
yeah,
right.
they're 8-0 in the playoffs.
Well, they had
Panthers.
they beat the Bruins, I think.
No, they beat the Penguins in the first round. The
Okay.
Flyers did.
Oh, well, that must have been.
The Bruins lost to the Sabres of Buffalo.
That's the Sabres are playing the Canadians right
yep,
now.
and it's 2-2 right now.
Okay.
Go
Mike Sh-
Canadians!
Mike
What's your Stanley
Schaefer-
Cup update.
Mike Schaefer has sent me something that I'm mildly interested in. I know we're gonna, maybe set up a Husker football topic, and can we try and remember this to do the topic tomorrow? Like, where does this leave them identity wise?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, we can.
Write it
One,
down.
Joey will remember. Two, we can just put it in the sheet here.
We have to because we were on the right train of thought, but then we stopped. The
Here's
train.
a suggestion: just put it on one of the empty segment blocks on your sheet. Then okay, we'll talk this tomorrow.
Okay, I
A
will.
little bit of a barb there from Joey.
No, I will, but it's just, I can't do it during the show while I'm talking.
I know when Schaefer leads things, whenever you're absent, Happer, Schaefer likes to put things in the rundown.
He
far
likes
in
to
advance.
assign them top. He likes to assign them.
Well,
times.
it gives me a better feel for what the flow is going to be, but I also haven't had 800 shows that I've done radio wise as a host, so there's a big difference there.
reps.
800 is probably shooting it low by about.
I don't know. Wow, what a question. How many daily radio shows have I done?
I mean, you've been a daily radio host since when?
2015.
And you usually don't take that much time off. So let's say
Almost never. I one
conservatively.
time took 3 weeks off because I had a child.
Conservatively, you're probably doing radio and hosting a show right around 300 times a year.
Conservatively. Yes.
So,
How many days are just without the weekends? Is that like
Yeah.
320?
yeah, I
Somewhere
don't
that-
know that exact number, but I think that's got to
Okay.
be.
I don't have the answer to
in
that.
the 300 range. In the 300,
But it's
maybe
8
less.
times 12, so take 96. So it's going to be actually less than that.
Yeah, maybe a little less. I don't know, 275 or something
Yeah.
like that.
The 275 seems like a good round.
275 shows a year for, oh my gosh, 11 years. 275 shows a year for,
And not obviously all of them are you the lead on the show.
almost all of them. Almost every one.
Really?
With the exception of the first year.
I would have guessed that Tom Stevens would have been.
No, I was in the one. I've been in the one chair for a long time. 3,000 over 3,000.
Look at that.
3,000 radio shows.
My goodness.
Man, we missed a moment to have a Mr. 3000, and then you could, Joey could do a graphic, and he'd be like Bernie Mac.
If only I had Joey attached to my hip from the very beginning of this thing.
You would know.
I would know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could make it up and say it's tomorrow. Tomorrow is my 3,000th radio
I think
show.
we should save it for the 18th.
The first day of summer
Yeah.
and my 3,000th radio show.
Yeah.
And this is the funny thing. I haven't even been doing this for that long. I mean, 10 years is nothing in radio time. Imagine Neil.
That's a million years.
What is that in radio years?
It's not very many, actually. People do radio forever.
A long time.
Forever. Cody says you work about 250 days a year. Okay. I did 275. So maybe we're not at 3,000 yet.
Which, if you think about
let's
all
do
the
the math
extra
again.
broadcasts and everything you end up doing.
Well, yeah, if you want to start putting in games
and then if you think about the recruiting
extra
hour, you were doing
shows.
2 shows a day.
yeah,
All right, Connor, you got 250 more to go for 250 shows a year.
it's really not. There's no way to know.
No.
There really is no
It's an
way to know.
unknowable thing. Plus, then you think about podcasts. Do podcasts sound as the same thing? Obviously, it's not radio, but
I've
you're
been doing
hosting a show.
Another podcast a day for
Right.
the last 2 years now.
Yep.
And then sometimes another podcast weekly on top of that.
Yep.
Andy
You've been
writes in,
doing things for a long time.
he says every day over the summer you should have a jersey number of the day and discuss those that wore that number.
I like that. We could pick it at random using your bracket from several years ago.
Is this like Michael and Damon's birthdays?
So Michael texted me the other day.
Did he text you
He's
the
like,
list of
just so you
birthdays?
know, there's a really good day of birthdays here, and he sent them to me.
The Ving Rhames day?
No, it wasn't Ving Rhames. It was somebody
Yesterday was
else.
Ving Rhames, and then Matt didn't know who Ving Rhames was. It's okay.
That could be a segment for a potential Michael Severe fill.
The name of the segment, oh geez.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
That's like we're gonna have an OGs crossover today. Hey Matt, have you ever heard of?
And then just say, oh, geez, a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Schaefer sent me this, so I'm going to find a way to get this on the stream here momentarily. To celebrate the World Cup this summer, you might be wanting a beverage. You might not be paying attention to this at all. You might have many hotel rooms available in your city. I don't know. Whatever it might be. But Miller
You
Lite,
should give one of those out with each room.
they should.
Yeah.
They should put it right there on the pillow.
What a partnership.
Miller Lite is launching a new type of 12-pack, the reloadable MVP Match Ball, in time for the World Cup. What happens is it will hold 12 beer cans to be stationed inside of the soccer ball and comes with a display stand on sale on May 20th, a week from today, at MillerLite.com for about $20. Now, my question is, did you get the beer along with it, or do you have to purchase the beer separately? I don't have an answer to that. This is a Darren Rovell tweet.
My curiosity is if you are sharing the beers with people or you're drinking the 12 beers.
Well, I mean, that's up to you, Joey. Joey, if it were you, it looks like you'd be getting after the 12 beers. There's the match ball. If you're watching along with this on YouTube,
I guess you're sharing.
there you go. You could just slide in the beer. And my idea, Schaefer's first question was, okay, how do we keep this? How do we keep the beers cold? What happens? And I say, put the soccer ball on ice. Just put the soccer
I'm
ball
now
on ice.
imagining the ice bucket in the hotel that you're getting because they can't sell them.
This is the rare, like, odd creation that has happened, especially that it heavily involves marketing of a product that I'm actually not super against.
Should we talk to the powers that be and see if we can get one for the studio here?
Can I have a Miller Time MVP match ball?
Yeah.
Send Mr. Desk down there.
Matt likes Miller Lite, right?
Yeah, we'll could get it for Matt.
I like Miller Lite at a baseball game. It tastes different.
It definitely, it has, I'll say this, it has its unique taste.
And there would be something almost futuristic and kids love satisfying things these days. So like when you cut stuff right on the line, it's very even, or you get whatever it is.
Very, like, if I had to rank skills, that's among the lowest things I can do.
Cut stuff on
I
a straight
cannot
line.
cut on a straight line very well.
That's unfortunate. But
horrendous.
Sliding a beer can into its perfectly shaped beer can holster inside of a soccer ball sounds kind of fun.
It does,
to be honest with you. So there
I
you go.
want to see what it looks like, and like actually, what the material of it is.
I hope it's like a soccer ball.
Yeah, well, it looks like
it looks like a soccer ball, but does it actually have the
Yeah.
functionality? Prison Matt says you should be able to fill it up with ice. I agree. You should have another hole in there. To
Well,
be able to dump
maybe
ice
that's
in.
what the middle. You can just fill the core of it with ice, and then everything sits around it.
I hope so.
It doesn't say that it's a cooler though.
No. Either that or I put the entire soccer ball on ice. I haven't decided which one is going to be necessary yet. John writes in, why the hell would I celebrate the World Cup? Or even worse, drink a Miller Lite?
There is that alternative point of view.
I'm going to watch the World Cup. I'm not going to care about it, but I'm going to watch it.
Definitely going to watch the World Cup. I can't promise that I'll drink any Miller Lite during the World Cup, but it's never in the fridge. It's never anything I order. I would drink it if someone gives it to me. I'm well past being like a beer snob in that regard.
Yeah, no,
but I don't know when the last time I've ever gone up and ordered a Miller Lite.
It would definitely be at a Major League Baseball game for me.
And there, I'm probably still going to be able to get a banquet.
You would.
So there's that.
You stick with what you know. Jesse has a random question before we get to Lauren here.
Yeah.
When you guys get home to your families, do you talk at all? I can't imagine it would be much. Less. I mean, less.
A lot less.
Yeah.
There's never a what did you do today or how was work?
Yeah. Sometimes I'm talked out. Less so these days. I don't have to talk as much as I used to, which is awesome.
I have a good stretch between 1 o'clock and about 5 o'clock where I don't really have to talk at all.
Tremendous.
And that's where like you're mowing the lawn or you're just listening to stuff or you're, just not involved.
Just start your day
Just
over.
Minding your own business.
Fantastic. All right. We will take a break. Lauren Michelson is up on the other side. We'll talk about the baseball from last night and some other things as we come back on 1620 The Zone.
Lauren Michelson.
I'm hoping you guys can wake me up a little bit this morning.
Lauren Michelson.
I will not feel bad for any of you in Omaha.
Lauren Michelson.
So whenever, hits the fan.
Lauren Michelson. KETV Channel 7.
No other thing I'd rather be doing at 9:15, 9:20 in the morning than talking to you two.
Lauren Michelson on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
I am ready to get the heck out of here.
And we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Lauren Michelson from KETV. Good morning, Lauren. What's going on?
Oh, good morning, you guys. I'm tired after last night, so I think we have this conversation every time. I'm really, truly wondering how you make it work with these hours. Are you exhausted?
I was excited because the game didn't last 5 hours last night, which was a great upgrade from the previous Tuesday night. I was very excited about that.
True. It was a win in your book. I've been thinking about that schedule. Man, you were hustling.
And we got fireworks and we got the whole thing last night. What'd you think? I mean, I kind of thought that there would be, I don't know, maybe I was being optimistic. I thought there would be maybe a few more thousand people last night, but we got over 10, which I thought was pretty good. What'd you think of the atmosphere?
Yeah, someone messaged me and was like, that's a horrible crowd. And I'm like, okay, it's not I thought it was a great crowd. I thought it felt a little bit like Big Ten tournament, postseason vibes in there.
Yeah.
I guess for how gorgeous it was outside, you could have expected a little bit more fans and how much was kind of on the line in this game for Nebraska in terms of just RPI and really both teams. But no, I thought it was a great environment, a lot of red, of course. And, but it made me excited for what is to come. And you kind of got a sense. You have the fireworks going off at the end of the game, the team sitting there watching, and it hit me for a second. I'm like, what if this team somehow makes it back to Omaha in June, and what that would feel like and be like? They have a long way to get there, a long road. Who knows? But it was a cool feeling to see last night.
Connor, do you have any thoughts on what it would look like if Nebraska makes it?
Some people think about that a lot. Some people try to not think about it very much.
Oh no! Well, come on now. Either way, they've got a long road. But it was a great game, and I think they're so solid right now. They're so locked in, and it was cool. I asked Bolt just basically, after they were swept by Ohio State, they've won 4 straight. So, how that mindset kind of flipped, and he just continues to harp on the response and the fight from this team. And I do think that's going to carry them.
Oh yeah. They're really good. No doubt.
I want to switch over to softball. Did you have any initial thoughts on the draw that Nebraska ended up in? And that obviously starts here this week with the home regionals that'll take place at Bowlin Stadium in Lincoln. Do you have any thoughts on that, or any thoughts on the draw and just in general with Oklahoma State as one of those teams looming potentially of a super regional?
Yeah, which would be awesome. So many storylines. I'm happy with the draw now. I think, like many people, I was a little shocked to see them not have a higher overall seed. 4 is great, but I do think they were deserving of a 3 or 2. You could even make an argument for 1, but yeah, 2 or 3 maybe. But despite that, I think it's a very favorable draw. And I think, they're poised to take care of business this weekend, host the next weekend, and then hopefully make it to OKC. So that would be exciting.
Is it in some ways better for Nebraska to be the 4 because you avoid Texas and Oklahoma who are on the other side? Like, this is cart way ahead of the horse, but you kind of avoid the sort of classic powers of Texas and Oklahoma if everybody were to make it to the College World Series there.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. I think it worked out as good as it could have for Nebraska. And honestly, just with Jordy and Oklahoma, we've done that storyline. We've talked about it. We've harped on it, and they are as complete as ever also. So I think I said it, the most favorable draw they could have got. And I think fans are kind of hung up on them not getting that higher overall seed. But I think when it comes down to it, this is going to be something that works in their favor very much. So
we've talked about it a lot, Lauren, over the last, several weeks, and just kind of checking in, and whether it's baseball or softball, hey, there's going to be, potentially travel involved. And then it's like, oh, potentially not. Actually, Nebraska baseball could be hosting And then softball is for sure, as long as they're, alive in the field until they get to the College World Series. I wonder, there's obvious advantages to hosting regionals and obviously super regionals at your park. It does change the kind of playoff feel. I think particularly with Bolt's team, they would have quite the advantage for playing at home in that ballpark with those fans. Also, I do think they have the mentality of, kind of road warriors, as well as they played at home this year. It does feel like they have, the kind of bleep you to them where they could go out on the road and enjoy playing in an environment for a regional. Like, I wonder how you balance all that. Obviously, it's very positively swung in the case of being at home, but I wonder how you sort of balance all that stuff going into playoff time.
Yeah, no doubt you want to play at home. And I think it makes me laugh how often we're talking to Bolt and Ravel about the home field advantage and how good it feels to play in front of Nebraska fans. But I do think it's we talk about it all the time. It is so different the way in which this fan base supports Nebraska, and not every team has that. And you kind of see it, when they travel, it's just different. So, and postseason, fans travel and fans have a little bit more interest in the sport if they don't already. But I think in terms of just the support and the environment and how juiced they are and the excitement around it, you want to play at home as long as possible, obviously. But Nebraska knows how to win for baseball and softball on the road, and they don't, you ask them about it, they just want to take a very business-like approach regardless. So it matters, but in the long term, they just know they need to take care of business and win, and that's what it comes down to.
This is a little unfair because you don't get any real time to prep for it, but here we are. If you take the basketball storyline out, what do you think has been the most fun or most enjoyable kind of experience you've had so far? If you put 2025, 26 together as the academic year for covering, whether it's Nebraska, Creighton, any of it.
So September to now.
Take men's basketball out because that's the biggest story, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Sure.
Yeah, you take that out. What's next that kind of stands out for you of what's happening in the college sports world in locally here with Nebraska and all the other teams?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's been really remarkable to see for volleyball this past year with the transition from Cook to Danny Buston Kelly and then Booth to Coach Brian Rosen, see such seamless transitions within those two programs. And I love covering volleyball. And I think just seeing the commitment from the players, especially with Nebraska, the fact that it's been 2 cycles now and you've seen 0 roster turnover is quite remarkable. And then same with Rosen and how he's gotten this team together and what's on the horizon with both these teams having very prominent public openings to the regular season, whether it's Nebraska traveling all over the place or Creighton being in Sioux Falls. So I think that's been pretty great to see, and I think they're both excellent coaches. So that's been fun. I think there's a lot of pressure now on specifically Nebraska with their senior class to get it done. I mean, it is interesting to think how can Andy Jackson, Bergen Riley, Harper Murray, and Laney Choboy not win a national championship? It just feels like this has to happen this year. So now looking forward, it's kind of that's going to be the big thing this fall is can they break through? Can they finally make that happen? But yeah, volleyball has been a joy this year with all seeing the consistency despite so much change.
While this is going on, we have state soccer, which is a great event every year. Are you out at Morrison Stadium over the next couple of days here?
I was there all day yesterday before baseball, all day on a Monday, and then Noah will be there today. I'm actually going to the Storm Chasers game to catch up with Max Anderson after his incredible day at the play yesterday. So nice. That's kind of fun. But yeah, state soccer is underway, and heck, you are reminded by how much people love the event, how cool it is. Morrison's just a gorgeous facility, and it's a pretty cool experience.
Okay, so yeah, you've covered all the state championships now. I think wrestling is really special, and then football is football. I don't know that that's like a special event. Basketball,
if you rated them, I think football sits kind of low.
Basketball is I think special. And I think soccer is special as well. Well, you could rate them or take it wherever you want. Which would you highlight as like, oh, this state tournament event really stands out?
I think wrestling's first, just because of what they do for like the individual athlete there, and the Parade of Champions is so cool. And they don't get as much coverage throughout the year from like all the TV and everything. So it's nice that we really get to go all in when they're at the CHI there. I would say track and field. Some people
state track,
but like I kind of love state track as long as there's no weather rainouts and stuff, which does happen.
Shocking.
Right. I know, right? And then state soccer 3, and then it goes down from there. But I think the NSA does a really good job in how they organize all their state events. And I do think, like, I'm from the Kansas City area on the Kansas side. I would love to see Kansas adapt some of what the NSA uses, because I just feel like it feels like a city or statewide event, which it is, instead of sometimes it just feels like solely at the level of the high school and no one really knows what's going on, whereas you kind of see like people just rolling up to Morrison to just watch some good soccer and enjoy the weather, which is pretty cool to see.
Anything else, Schaefer?
I don't have anything else.
There is talk of potentially, like, since Nebraska got this new track or whatever, like, hey, you can move it there, and I don't know that I like that. Now, I've never been like a huge state track guy. I don't know what the track community thinks about this.
Weird if it's not there.
It just feels like that event, for whatever reason, just because it's been there so long, probably just belongs at Burke. I don't know.
Yeah, don't change. I'm not I don't love change, so I say keep it. But it's good they're even talking about it. I mean, they care, but no, keep it at Burke. It's a brand new press box, gorgeous facilities. Keep it at Burke.
Connor Happer, handshake meme, Lauren Michelson. I don't like change. Absolutely. Sign me up for that completely. All right, Lauren, we'll let you go. We appreciate you as always, and have a good rest of your week.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Lauren Michelson from KETV. A little bit of everything. Oh, I didn't know that Max Anderson was in town this week.
So the Mud Hens are playing here. I had thought about
Toledo. What interstate?
You got I-75, 80, 90 Turnpike. It's easy.
It's easy.
I've been through.
Joey, I've been through Toledo too.
I've been through Toledo a lot of times. I had my
Joey, name a single Mud Hen.
I don't have that.
Now you gave Max Anderson.
She even gave you Max Anderson.
Max Anderson.
We also have Max Clark,
the AAA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers, the Detroit.
Yeah, they've got a few guys. I don't know if Jace Young is still there.
They've had a lot of Spencer Torkelson over the years. A lot of they had a
lot of really interesting prospects.
Yeah, they've had some guys come through there.
Yeah.
Who is the guy? He had like a moment, like a really good moment with Akil Badu.
Yep.
Akil Badu was
so he's a Rule 5 guy.
Yes.
And then he had a really nice season. And then
they couldn't send him back down because he was a Rule 5 guy.
And then as soon as that year ended, he basically wasn't good again.
I've seen Akil Badu play a lot of baseball in Omaha. A lot of Mud Hens and Columbus Clippers and Indianapolis Indians over the last several years. I wanted to mention this before we take a break and we get to our bracket sim and get out of here. Did you see what Iowa football did yesterday?
No.
Oh, you're going to love this. This is great. Sometimes the jokes write themselves, right? So Iowa's looking to get newer and sleeker and, trying to upgrade and update things, right? Everybody's trying to stay on the cutting edge. So Iowa yesterday brought in former NFL offensive coordinator Tom Moore as a senior consultant. You know who Tom Moore is?
Tom Moore is a former offensive line coach of the Colts when they were really good.
Tom Moore is 87.
Yeah. No, he's old. You're not getting younger or sleeker, I guess.
No.
Really formidable line coach in the NFL.
I just think it's a perfect ad
for
exactly what I mean. If you have a bit, steer into it. It's like our bit is we don't do the forward pass. And so we brought in the oldest person we could find.
Well, in fairness to Tom Moore, I'm pretty sure he's a Colts offensive line coach when they were forward passing all over them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very early in the forward pass.
Yeah. He was there when Teddy Roosevelt gathered all the university presidents to determine
there we go.
if football needs to be a thing.
There we go. Tom Moore, I'm sure, is excellent. He's had a great career. He's been with the Colts, whatever, all this different stuff. But he's 87 years old.
He's old.
That is the joke. We will come back and round things out after this on 1620 The Zone. An ode to 1019 The Keg, which died yesterday.
Yeah, did you listen to the final moments?
It's the end of the world as
Yep.
we know it.
Yep.
So well done.
Nice job, Mike. And so we NRG sold that when they sold us, basically, and here we are. It changed over yesterday.
The Nebraska Public Media.
I had a call last night after I was at the baseball game, and it was like, "Hey, what's going on with the?" I was like, yeah, they NPM bought it. They changed it over to a non-com." I'm like, oh, they definitely did. But it was not the type of music that people have come to know and love. But shout out to 1019 FM KOOO.
Shout out to
How
Crash
long are you
Davis
letting
and
it
Mike Neville.
just sit there before you're like, all right, this is clearly not what
I'm not sure.
you're like, well, I'll let it get to a commercial break.
It must not have taken very long.
You're right.
But
Right.
yeah, there you go. So hearty cheers to 1019 The Keg, which is a station that people I was on an email chain yesterday and everyone loved it.
Yeah.
I love 1019 The Keg.
I loved it. Also, they aired the Creighton men's basketball games. Big Red overreaction.
People forget about that.
Versatile
16-20 the
station.
pregame last year.
We'll have to just find a new place to put
It was
our
what I would
FMs.
listen to driving back from Nebraska basketball games when Creighton was playing at the same time.
Because you could hear John yelling in crystal clear
I know.
FM.
And I needed to know what was going to happen for the show the next day.
Well,
Horse crap call.
there you go. Listen to how
Wow.
nice that
That's
sounds.
beautiful.
Garbage.
To our bracket sim we go. The Lincoln Regional, hosted by the Nebraska Cornhuskers, with all of their big donors and some season ticket holders. They host number 2 Oklahoma, number 3 Cal Baptist, and number 4 San Diego State.
Wonderful.
In the Lincoln Regional. UConn is the representative from the Big East, according to this. And Oklahoma has gotten out of the reach. I haven't had Nebraska advance past the regional round in a long time, honestly. Oklahoma not only wins the Lincoln Regional, but then wins the Austin Super Regional, and then wins their side of the bracket at the College World Series, where they go to the finals and lose to UCLA.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Oklahoma, I think, is going the wrong way as the season has gone along.
They play good ball down there. Shout out to Skip Johnson.
Yeah, no, it's not that they're not good. It's just that I don't know. I think they're like, if you're doing a tier of SEC baseball, like they're like a pretty significant rung down of the higher tier.
Well, yeah, you do have to have at least a 500 record to,
Right.
Get any respect from me. So I agree with that in general.
Nope, that's where we're at.
I had Nebraska getting out of the regional, but losing to Virginia in the Super Regional, who's a 3 seed out of Austin.
How about this Connor World Series? So we have 2 Big Ten teams in. One of them is UCLA. Any guesses on the second Big Ten team in the College World
USC,
Series?
so Oregon.
Purdue.
Whoa.
Purdue has made the Connor World Series, according to this bracket.
Is Purdue
sim.
going to be an at-large?
Apparently.
Yeah, Purdue's a 3 in the
Is it-
Morgantown regional in mine.
They have been RPI massaging lately. I've
Oh,
seen that.
okay.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
What does the Big Ten standings even look like right
It's quite a gobbled mess after one at the moment.
One is a very clean look.
Clean.
And then, I mean, yeah, it really is. Nebraska can't
It's a bunch
afford
of
to get swept.
It's a bunch of gobbledygook.
Yeah, Nebraska needs to win 2 just to,
Two to be
get,
safe.
get out
for
of that
sure.
double elimination bracket.
So you're trying to not only, you're trying to host a regional, you're also trying to finish top 4 of the Big Ten, which is still possible that you don't. So don't screw it up this weekend, Nebraska, at Minnesota, which is the only appropriate time of college baseball season to be playing at Minnesota, right? This exact weekend, the final weekend. So nice draw there for the Huskers. In the projected bracket, everything looks just about the same, but we'll run it one more time. And Nebraska yet again doesn't get out of the regional round. They lose to Oklahoma, and then it looks like Kent State makes the Connor World Series, and Auburn for some reason wins the national championship.
Wow.
What's going on here?
NC State over Florida in the Connor World Series.
Georgia Tech over Mississippi State in mine.
NC State back? Elliott Avent back again?
Right there on the door.
Oh, yeah, there they are. That was from their COVID canceled World Series.
That's been there for roughly 6 years now.
Tough times. Well, they've made it sense, but they did have a tough time that one year when they probably would have won the national championship if they didn't have COVID.
Yep.
What a weird time. All right. That's our bracket sim for today, and that is going to do it for us. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. We have a crossover with Matt coming up next.